looks like we're live over on the tube. We're live over on the tube as well. So with that being said, we got everybody locked in. Guys, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart meet. I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1-cent gift goals. You can knock them out. It'll help push us out to the FYP. And with that being said, let's go ahead and kick this off.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight. We here to connect the dots, yeah. Late nights with Santana.
You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Yeah.
Late nights,
yeah.
No static. No highlight reel,
nope.
Just the soul's reflection.
Yep.
No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear. But you find us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I hope everyone is having an amazing evening. I hope every single person is having a wonderful night. Guys, welcome in. This is Late Nights with Santana. I know the format looks like a little similar to Sparring with Santana, but these are two different things. And I know even on the back it says Debate Me, Bro, which, you know, maybe I'm a little bit misleading in the way that I did it, but I did it the way that I did it so we can do it the way that we do it. This is a panel discussion. FYI, for each and every person that is in the request right now, this is a panel discussion. This is not a debate. We are talking about debate culture. This week on Late Nights with Santana, we are diving into why debate culture exists. And fun fact, we had a great night last night, but we're going to get right back into it tonight, right? We're going to get back into a couple of different things. So we're going to break down the why debate. Why debate? We're going to break down the actual importance of actually having debate and what the end goal should be with debate. We're going to get into knowledge is key, where we talk about why it's important to actually have facts and information when it comes to the different things that you're trying to actually debate. We're going to talk about what's off limits, right? If there are anything that should be considered off limits, and even more so, why some people are so adamant about debating people humanity. And last but not least, we're going to get into proving your point, which is the conclusion. It's going to be us actually trying to map out what we are looking for when it comes to debate as a whole. So with that being said, if you are watching, tap the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 25,000 likes. And again, if we can knock out the daily gift goal a couple of times, it'll help push us out to the FYP. I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1 cent gift goals. If we can knock it out a couple of times, that will help push us out to the live. If you are interested in actually joining the conversation, if you're interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and get in the box. You do not have to be someone that is a quote unquote op. If you are someone that is interested in joining the conversation and actually adding something of substance to the conversation, then get in the box. Get in the box. Let's do it. Okay. Yeah, just if you see someone in the meantime, just let me know. Go ahead and get them up and, we're good to go. All right, so I'm going to start bringing people in. And as I bring people in, guys, please, please, please mute yourself. Mute yourself. As I bring you in, please mute yourself and we will go through a quick introduction. All right, 1 second here. All right. All right. All right. All right. Here. Boom. All right. Perfect. Perfect. So we have a full house, as I like to call it. But let's go ahead and go around the horn. We're going to do a quick introduction and then we will get into it. So first and foremost, Reggie, are you someone that actually engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
Well, I used to, like, say during the election, but I don't anymore. I don't. Did you want me to give a little introduction or did
No, not yet. We're going to get into it. I just that one question is just the starter, but give me just a moment because I definitely have questions now. That's a good teaser. That's a teaser. All right. 1 second here. Power Man, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Power Man, are you someone that actually engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
I didn't before the election, but now I do.
Wait, you said you did, but now you do, or you didn't, but now you do?
I didn't, but now I do.
Okay, perfect. Now the complete inverse. All right, now that's another cliffhanger. Perfect. Give me a second here. Billy, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful. Billy, are you someone that actually engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
I would say to like a moderate extent. In high school, I debated more, but now it's calmed down a bit because of university and stuff. But back in the day, I was pretty good.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second here. Chewy, welcome back. How are you?
Having another fine evening. Looking forward to night number 2 and expanding on the topic.
I know. Listen, I'm going to start with you because, you didn't get as much play last night. You got here a little bit closer to the end. And so I want to make sure I start off with you and Reggie, because I know Reggie was here last night, but we didn't get a chance to get him up. So I'm going to start with you and then I'll go to Reggie. But Chewy, can you tell the people, do you engage in debate culture and to what level?
Yes, I do engage in the debate culture. I find my own niche, shall we say, niche. And I think that's something that everyone should try to do in debate culture, is find that niche, find that thing that they are passionate about and talk about.
Absolutely. Perfect. Give me a second here. Taro, how are you?
I am well. Can you hear me?
I can. Look who decided to get off the tubes and come over and hang out with us.
Indeed. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, howdy. Tara, can you tell the people, are you someone that engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
Yes and no. I do more of a conversational debate, um, like because it we can get more into that, but it's mostly debate. Uh, People seem to will dig their heels in on a topic rather than be willing to consider other options.
Absolutely, absolutely. Perfect, perfect. Give me 1 second. And last but not least, Cole. Cole, how are you?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Cole, are you someone that engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
Yeah, I do a little debate here and there, not too much, moderate, but excited to see what we're about to be doing today.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, guys, give me a second here. All right, so before we get started, this is for everyone on the panel. Guys, please, please, please be mindful. Use TikTok-friendly language as we speak. And what is TikTok-friendly language? Well, that's words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19, all of those types of words that help protect not only your TikTok, but the live. Also, guys, I just want to remind everyone that this is a safe and friendly environment. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play that on the panel nor the chat. Speaking of the chat, please, 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 guys, be mindful. Caps are for mods. Please do not use caps because it will draw my attention away from the panel and to the chat. And I want to make sure that we are able to have this conversation, but I need the chat to be active participants. Guys, I need you tapping the screen, sharing the live. I need you actually engage. And if you're interested in joining this conversation, then get in the box. I promise you, I will try to get people in and out and make sure that we have a good night and people get an opportunity to join if they want. But also, I'm going to keep resetting these daily gift goals to these little 1-cent gift goals. It'll help push us out to the FYP. So if you can knock those out a couple of times and also send your daily heart me, it's only one coin. It's only one coin, and that will help boost the live as well. And lastly, we do have a nightly donation goal of $250. So if anyone enjoys the information, education, entertainment, and you would like to support the live, the best way to do so is through the pay links. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything is accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTubes, what up, YouTube? What up, Twitch? If you're over on the YouTubes and you like to support the live, you can do so with a super chat, and I will read that out. All right, perfect. Guys, we are going to go ahead and get started here. And Chewy, I'm going to start with you. You said, you called out something interesting to me just now, and you said that it's important to find your niche when it comes to debating and how that goes. Well, first and foremost, Chewy, can you tell the people why you think debate in general is important, and what do you mean by find your niche? Are you saying that, maybe people shouldn't just shotgun and, look to debate everything?
Yeah, sure. So, I would say the kind of going on to the I'm going to jump on the like finding your niche part first, because that's kind of plays into the other part. The reason I say that is you can educate yourself so much better on a particular subject, and that allows, in my opinion, better dialogue. Where if you only know like surface level material and then you're constantly having to like fact check or go back, if you are well versed in a very specific topic and the intricacies of that topic and where that topic may lead, it creates a better flow for debate as well, which obviously, like in like TikTok terms, it keeps the live more engaged and things of that nature. So it is A, very productive, and then B, obviously for people that can chat and that thing, it keeps a good flow going. And I think that is very key to having good debates, because you don't have the quote unquote, we'll say unalived air for TikTok purposes. And having that knowledge, I mean, obviously you can cover topics that maybe aren't your strength as long as you know of it. But again, if you are very well versed in a topic, it just makes conversations so much better, and it also sometimes will challenge the people that are in opposition of you, because they may be used to the quote unquote common talking points where a lot of people will bring up the things that are brought up in every live, but when you can deep dive into that subject further and challenge those points, and then even challenge those sub points, I think that's when you do a better job of persuading the other side of your argument, because they now realize so much more beyond, again, that surface level conversation.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think, in my opinion, the entire point of debate is to engage in critical thinking, right, and to enforce people to dig deeper and go way past that surface level. So I think that's a great point. Perfect. Give me a second here, Chewy. All right, so Reggie, coming to you. Not gonna lie, you literally have had my my interest this entire time. So you said that you used to debate, but not anymore, or used to engage in debate culture, but not anymore. First and foremost, why do you think it's important to actually have debate, and why did you give it up?
Very good question. So I liked what someone else said on the panel. They said conversational debate. And that's where I really try to put my effort into having conversations, understanding where they were coming from and where I was coming from, and trying to convince them, right? Because essentially that's what you're trying to do, especially around election time. But the truth is, right now, it's not election time anymore. And we lost that election. We lost. And so for us to continue to try to convince them, what are we trying to convince them of when we already know? So like, let's say I was to debate somebody on MAGA, right? I already know that, at least, because I stand 10 tones down in my position, right? I already know that their position is the wrong one, right? Like, I'm trying to convince them I'm trying to convince them to think of the righteous, answer, or the answer that I have, right? That we know that we have a lot of good answers on our side. But I'll say this: my question is, and the reason why I stopped is because right now is where introspection should begin. If we really want to continue, whether or not that's in the midterms or in 4 years from now, we need to start asking ourselves the tough questions. The debate should not be between us and MAGA. I already know MAGA is bad. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prevent MAGA policies from being over our head in the future. So I think the best thing for us to do is have debate within our own side, with our own side, with our own people. Like for example, today, right? There's a viral tweet right now that showed 13 unpopular Democratic opinions that go from 66% unapproval all the way to 1 out of 8 people supporting popular Democratic positions that we've held for about 10 years, right? And no one is ever asking any questions regarding any of those policies that most people disagree with, but yet we carry those policies, right? So here we are. We're speaking to MAG, and we're saying, hey, these are the topics that we want to debate, right? But when are we ever going to debate the topics that we don't? And I think when we start asking ourselves those tough questions, right? Where do we stand on this? Why do we think this way? Are we wrong? Are we wrong? It's when we move ahead. And I'll just say this one last thing, because I know I've been kind of monologuing. I think people really underestimate, or people don't really understand CK too well. Yes, he did debate, but his primary purpose was to get young men into the MAGA, into the RNC. That's what his primary purpose was, right? And I would say that he was beyond successful in doing that. That creates votes, not debates, And I'll land there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the one thing that I will say, and you said a couple of different things that were super interesting to me, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna grab all of them, but the one thing that I will call out is that I think a lot of people have a misconception around political debate specifically, right? And to be clear, for anyone that's watching and anyone that wants to join, this is not a, we're talking about just political debates. We're talking about debate culture as a whole. And I know there's other people that engage in multiple forms of debate, not just political debate. And so if you are interested in joining, you can request up and join the panel. But the one thing that I know about debate is that you're not trying to convince the person that you're debating, right? Especially on a TikTok live. In a lot of situations, the people that have the conviction to actually join a TikTok live and debate in front of hundreds or thousands of people, they have that conviction of self. They are entrenched in their beliefs. Like you already said, you believe that MAGA is wrong and these are your beliefs and blah, 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 blah. So no matter what happens during that debate, more than likely, you're not going to actually change your beliefs. I think the biggest thing for people to remember, and this is for anyone that is in debate culture or anyone that is interested in partaking in debate culture, is your job is not to convince the person that you're debating. Your job is to sway the opinions of the people that are watching. That's the most important job of you in what you're debating. And to your point, Charlie Kirk did that. While I will stand on the fact that I think that Charlie Kirk was a POS, Charlie Kirk did what that actual thing. He wasn't good at debating. He wasn't smart, but he was good at swaying the opinion of a certain group of people, which led to influence, which led to being able to guide them down whatever path that he wanted to get them on. So that's where we are. Let me jump over to Powerman. Powerman, you said that you didn't debate prior to the election, but afterwards you started debating. Tell me what happened.
So, I used to be a Trump supporter.
Mhm.
I voted for him, and about 2 months prior of the election, the regrets started to seep in. So, like prior to the election, I didn't debate because I felt like I was so sure about who I wanted to lead this country. And so I just decided, and I didn't want anyone to change my mind or attempt to change my mind. So I voted. But now after the election, since I am no longer a Trump supporter and probably align myself to a little more like in the middle, I would say that now I like to go on lives to debate people who are on this, who think like me, who it's kind of hard to say, like thought like how I was thinking like previously. And I like to debate those people because I guess there's like a familiarity with that, because I was once thinking exactly like them. So I guess I like know how I can like maybe relate to them in that way, but also I can like kind of stir them into not like, completely swaying their opinion, but like, letting them hear other perspectives from a person who used to have their perspectives, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, listen, I the one thing that I will say, and we kind of got into this last night, and I plan on digging into this tonight because it is in a sense the toxic debate culture that happens in political spaces. And even like I know I'm a huge wrestling fan, and it happens in wrestling debate culture as well. But someone made the comment last night that people on the left are too smart to talk to, and people on the right are too mean to talk to. basically saying that like both sides of the political spectrum, when it comes to debate, they're so intrinsic as far as who they are that they take the standpoint of, oh, I'm on the left, so I have to be this ultra intelligent person and speak above your head and talk down to you at every point because I'm smarter than you. Or, oh, I'm on the right and I have to be as mean as I possibly can be and say all the hateful stuff because, freedom of speech and you can't censor or cancel me and da 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 da. And I think that when coming from either one of those camps and trying to engage across the aisle with someone else, it's not the best as far as any type of real conversation or engaging them. But when you are engaging those type of people and you have either been in that position or you're close to that position, I think it makes it easier for the person that you're quote unquote having that conversation with to actually engage with you. So I think that's a great thing. All right, give me a second here. Taro, I want to come to you. So you said that you engage more in conversations versus debates. I'm going to switch the question for you just a little bit. What, in your opinion, is the difference between the two, and why is conversations more important than debates?
Let's see if I can do this. Okay.
You got it.
So apologies. I'm nervous. Repeat the question one more time.
No worries. You said that you engage more so in conversations versus debates. To you, what is the difference between the two, and why is it more important for you to have a conversation versus having a debate?
Okay, thank you. So a conversation can be had by anyone, and in a debate, you would necessarily, in order to do it properly, you would need to be trained. You have to do your research, and you have to actually prepare. But in a conversation, like, we can talk like we're friends and shoot the stuff and be able to actually go on a more personal level. And the second part of the question was, why is that more important? Am I correct?
To you.
Okay. Is because psychologically, the person that I'm in the conversation with, rather than a debate, is more likely to take the information through a different path. And my goal is to actually plant a seed of doubt where that I know that's what the debate is for, but I'm including the person that I'm talking to as well.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing that I'll say about that is I think that a debate always takes a bit of a combative nature, versus a conversation can be combative, but not necessarily always combative. And I do think that conversations lend itself more so to learning, right? And I think that a lot of people, the comment that Reggie made earlier about trying to convince someone in a debate, that's never going to happen in a debate. But if you're actually having a conversation with someone, there's a real chance that you can actually convince that person to take a different position or to actually grow from that. So I think, that's why conversations are more important than debates, right? Because conversations are actually tools of growth that can lead to real progress. Where, in my opinion, debates are more of a sporting arena that can actually be a tool of a cult-like following, if we're going to be honest. And I'll get into that soon. But like, I think there's two huge differences between those. But anyway, give me a second here. Really quick, guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. May I add on to that real quick before I forget?
Sure. Go ahead.
Chewy was correct in the education part, that the fact that I'm getting educated in philosophy allows for me to be able to call out harmful rhetoric or bad logic. I'm sorry. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, W's in the chat for Lori. Lori sent a $5 donation saying, thank you for the safe space and education on this subject. Absolutely, Lori. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad that you feel comfortable here in our space. That really means a lot to me. Also, W's in the chat for Ellie. Ellie sent a $10 donation towards the nightly goal, saying donation goal. Really appreciate this forum. Thank you so much. I really, really, absolutely appreciate that. That means so much to me. Guys, that means that we are now only $235 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. If anyone else would like to support the live, you can definitely do so. There's 338 people hanging out here. We can knock this out for sure. If 235 people just send $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and links are in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything is accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. All right, Cole, coming to you. Cole, and pardon me if I have this wrong, but you kind of look, I tried to check your profile picture, but you kind of look and you kind of sound like a young man. Is that accurate?
What do you define as young?
What's your age?
18.
You're definitely a young man. All right, cool. All right, question for you.
Go ahead.
Are you aware of the Phil Bro or, debate bro aspect of debate culture?
No. Can you for me?
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hold off on that then. Tell me, what interests you about debate then?
I just want to be able to talk to people about that have different opinions or than me. I know a lot of people might think differently than I do, and I want to be informed. I want to be taught. I want to be convinced. For example, if I'm debating a liberal or a Republican or whatever, I want to hear their point of view, and I like to give them my point of view. So that's my favorite part about debate, and I want to get more into debate. I've debated a lot, like a few people. I debated Parker today, if you know who that is, but
no, I have no idea. Who's Parker?
He's a liberal debater, but I'm still trying to get into
Did you know this is the other Parker account right here?
Who?
Don't worry about it. It's never mind. Keep going. I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's basically it. I just like talking to people that have different views.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I guess a follow-up question for you. When you look to debate people, are you looking to debate based off of convictions of self, or are you looking to debate for an exchange of thoughts without really being set on a standpoint?
I would say both, to be honest. I like listening to people. And I always have an open mind, right? So if someone convinces me otherwise on a certain point, then I'd be convinced, but I always have an open mind when debating. I know a lot of people debate like with a closed mind. They think that all of their points are correct, but truly, someone could come in and convince them at any time. But I always have an open mind when debating. So.
Got it. Okay. All right. Perfect. Give me a second here. Ashley, how are you?
I am blessed. I'm very honored. Shout out to you, Santana. But how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you. You just flatter me. Ashley, thank you so much for being here. Ashley, are you someone that engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
So I actually pay attention to debates. I actually was tuned into your debate about how I got into debating, was also watching sports debates, just like Cold Pizza. And I was paying attention. But I wanted to get into more like debates and also have my own critical thinking, especially as someone that is on the autism spectrum. I try to like teach people like certain things, especially with this whole world what's happening in this country, trying to get people to understand like what their actions and how they do and like debate and conversations like, hey, this is from my personal experience, like what you're doing and how you say things is like, no, like just debating conversation wise. But I'm learning more about it, but also want to be civilized, like where it does not, what's it called? You don't get triggered so quickly and people have that, aha, I got you moment. So hopefully it makes sense. I apologize for the tangent.
No. It makes perfect sense. And I think you bring up a great point. I do think, something that we're definitely going to talk about is the way that certain debates devolve, right? And I know that I have been a proponent of such a thing, right? I mean, I'm not above saying that every once in a while, I have a habit of maybe calling a person slap nuts or, something like that. But when it gets past the point of actually engaging in any type of level of intelligence and it becomes contentious and it just becomes something where like it's not productive. And I think a lot of people miss the opportunity to really engage with each other. And then they forget about there's one person that is really good about calling this out, and it's Swan. Swan constantly calls people out to say, hey, don't overtalk, because there's people that are currently watching that are using listening devices. And if there's people over talking each other, then the listening device won't pick up correctly. And so it throws everything off. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to make is being able to actually have not only a respectful debate, but a thoughtful debate is super important. And I think that's something that a lot of more people should try to obtain, including myself. So that's a great call out.
Yeah, for sure. And, and especially in this time, like hearing certain things, and like I said, as someone that's on the autism spectrum, like seeing so many crazy misinformation with this administration talking about the autism spectrum and saying some misinformation, I have to like literally, I don't want to say debate, but I will like literally call people out like, look, this ain't this, like if you know what you're talking about, like you have to come from experience. And it's very thoughtful, for real. Like you have to, and I think when it comes to debates, you have to also do like research, because some people will like say things that's either outdated or not true. So it's like you have to always bring research and receipts to the debate, to where, hey, like this is what I saw, this is the updated version. But I really agree with your point, for real. So that's why I always listen to you, Santana, like just to get your ideas and stuff. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm here for it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Scientific Stitch, how are you?
Hi. Oh my God, my voice. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
Did we lose Cole? Did Cole? I saw Cole going back and forth in the comments. Could he not keep it together? Okay, never mind. I apologize. Go ahead. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm probably not going to stay up for too long, but I've been watching some of the debates. I usually watch them at work because it helps me like focus whenever I'm doing like for context, I'm a master's student working towards my PhD in physiology, and I really do appreciate, like, I'm glad that there's so many people sticking up for the right side in terms of like morals and like ethics, because I think that's so very important. But something that I've noticed more and more lately is it's like this it's like a lot of conversations tend to devolve into extreme scientific views where they say something very much causes something even though it's just correlated, or there's like misinterpretations of the data. And I really hope that the debate culture doesn't get so far that we lose touch with proper ability to interpret science, because scientific communication is so important nowadays, but especially with so much misinformation.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? I'm going to kind of tee you up to go into a specific topic, because that's part of what we've actually talked about, and specifically one of the points that I call out is knowledge is key, right? And I think that there is a lack of willing, or a lack of people that engage in what are set facts, right? Things that should be non-negotiable, but yet certain people are leaning into alternative facts, or the new thing, which is I do my own research. I guess Stitch, the question I have for you is, why is it that some people are now more so than ever refusing to engage in like actual well-known documented facts and information, science, or whatever the case may be, and opting for the premise of I do my own research, when most of the time that research is flawed?
I think it's for a few different reasons. The first reason I would say is because not all scientific literature is good literature, and it takes a trained scientist with a trained eye to catch it. So, a good example of this would be two studies that have been recently highlighted on social media. One, which was on the CVAX and mortality rates, where they didn't account for the fact that these individuals didn't even receive the CVAX before being unalived. This paper was retracted initially and republished in a predatory journal, which basically means that the author pays the journal to publish their paper without any peer review, which is a very big problem in academia. I'd say another big reason is that people don't understand the difference between academia and industry science. Industry science is, yes, there are some flaws in industry science, specifically concerning GRAS, like approval of like ingredients and stuff like that in like supplements. But as far as pharmacological evidence goes, a lot of it is very solid, especially if you actually look into it. And then in the academia side, when people say who funded the study, academia is like the last, like academia papers, the ones that are published by universities and people like me, are the last people you should be asking who funded the research for that, because you're funding it. Literally every taxpayer is funding it. So it has absolutely nothing to do with companies, industry. So all those seed oil studies that have been conducted by universities, like quite literally, the majority of academic papers that go to demonstrate our understanding of many things, including including the vax, including like seed oils, including saturated fats and raw milk, they were conducted by university students, PhD students, people who are at high levels in graduate education, people who are even just owning a lab in academia, teaching other PhDs. They're not industry scientists. They're not paid off by anyone. And I think that's another one. And then I guess the final one would be the focus on anecdote. The idea that, like, I do sympathize, because I remember just hearing Ashley talk about this. There is a place for anecdote. That is in case studies, case series, case reports. That being said, that doesn't replace a randomized control trial. And the differences in literature quality are vast. And you have to acknowledge that when you try to do a study on yourself, to try to do an anecdote on yourself, there is an inherent bias. There's the nocebo effect, the placebo effect, that you cannot account for because you are you. Right. And I think those three things are the biggest reason why we are seeing an uptick in people who can't read the literature, who don't understand when to ask who funded the study, and are constantly questioning the science because they don't understand how it's conducted in the first place.
Okay. All right. I like that. I think that the overall premise behind because that's been an uptick, at least in my opinion, as far as like when people aren't necessarily properly equipped, or they don't understand the information, the science, the actual resources, where you have certain people have done the research, they have done the legwork, they have verified the information, and when the alternative facts people, or the people who have done their own research, they try to invalidate that information because it doesn't fit their narrative, and it's not only weird, but it's dangerous. So I think you're spot on with what you just said, especially that's why they're like, well, who paid for the study? What oh, that's that's a biased study, that's a biased source, that's a biased reporting or whatever. It doesn't fit their narrative, and so they immediately push back on it to try to invalidate it.
Yeah, and I also would just, if you ever come across somebody asking that, quick tip, if you click on the full text links on PubMed, you can go to the full study. And if you scroll all the way down, especially on a PMC article, because they're usually free access, it'll tell you who funded the study. It'll tell you conflicts of interest. It's something that is very crucial to the peer review process. And if you don't know the conflicts of interest, or if there is a potential conflict of interest, the peer reviewer will make a confidential comment to the editor, and that paper will likely not pass.
Absolutely. That's a good call out. That's a good call out. All right. I want to go a little bit deeper, and I want to stick to kind of where we are, but go deeper, right? And so, Reggie, I want to come back to you. And I know you said that you don't necessarily engage in debates anymore, and I get why you are putting your energy and efforts in other places. But Reggie, why is it that people just really refuse to engage in not only just an honest debate now, but why have we become such a society where people would rather lead with their feelings than facts and negate, or not necessarily negate, but reject all types of reliable sources or information in order to justify their point?
That's a good question. And I actually had this happen the other night. I was on a panel and I was in a debate about a totally another subject. And the gentleman produced a statistic. He produced just an image, like an image that you would see at the top of an article, right? And it had a stat, and he claimed the stat said something. And I scrolled down, I went and found the same article, and I produced it for him on the screen. And I said, we're looking at the same article. You just didn't read further down. Just literally in the first paragraph, it says the exact opposite of what you're saying. He then says, well, no, it says it here. There are 25 pages to this article. I said, no, there are clearly 5. Here you go. And he refused to believe it. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of people have their personality wrapped up in their positions, right? If I lose my position, if my position is proven wrong, what does that say about me as a person? What does that say about my personality? What does that say about my belief system? All of the years I've put into this belief system, it becomes really hard to convince people otherwise. And I think that's a lot of why we're in the situation where we're in, where we could be having a conversation and talking about stats, talking about whatever. I remember today I was in a political debate, and a rare moment for me, and we were discussing things like wind production, windmill, wind farms, right? And the gentleman said, we were talking about Kentucky, and I acknowledged to him that, yes, you can build wind farms on land. And then he said, well, outside of Rhode Island, they put all these wind farms out in the ocean. And I said, that's a great place to put wind farms in the ocean. You get plenty of wind over there, but Kentucky is landlocked, right? But anyway, a lot of people have their personality wrapped up into their points of view. So letting go of their points of view is letting go a part of them. And I think that is at the core of the issue. And I'm going to go ahead and land there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that you see that oftentimes, right, where people are so locked into their positions and locked into it. You have certain people that allow their opinions to become their personality, right? They allow their opinions to be who they are, and that's all that they really have. And those type of people, when you build your entire personality around a perspective or an outlook or something that can change due to mitigating factors or new information or whatever the case may be, then you're always going to be fragile in who you are. And if you're fragile in who you are, then you're going to have a visceral reaction when someone challenges that, because it's personal. It's no longer actually engaging in a good debate. It's no longer an exchange of thought. It's someone personally attacking you because that's your personality. So I think that's a great call out. Really quick, guys, Debbie's in the chat for Scott. Scott sent a $19.99 super chat to say, keep fighting the good fight, Santana. Thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate you. Guys, Debbie's in the chat for Scott. Guys, we still have $235 left in the nightly donation goal. There's 329 people hanging out here. We can definitely knock that out. If 235 people send $1, we can close out the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. If you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. We're going to be getting people in and out here, and we're going to keep the panel flowing. But before we do that, I want to come to Ashley. Ashley?
Yes, sir.
I have something super interesting that I would like to position to you, because we were talking about this last night, right? And personally, I have a problem with, and this is just a personal thing for me. I have a problem with men that always want to debate abortion, right? And not just like, oh, I'm here and someone's trying to debate me on abortion, so I will debate on abortion. But specifically, there seems to be a trend of men that only want to debate abortion, right? And so they run around TikTok specifically looking for people to debate on abortion. Ashley, why is it that there are certain men or certain people, period, that get so locked into that set thing and they want to debate it so bad, and when there is a rejection of being able to debate that topic, that it becomes such a negative experience for them?
That's a great question. So abortion, they always say, is a tough subject to discuss. And honestly, people like to use abortion as a thing where, you know, these are the same people. I feel like the people that like to debate about abortion and say abortion is wrong are the same people that are very quiet about what's happening in Gaza. These are the same people, like, honestly, like, and also these are the same people that claim they're pro-life, but very quiet about other things. But I think when it comes to abortion, like in ways, I think when it comes to men that argue about abortion, it's like they're very just insecure about certain things. They don't understand the experience of what a woman has to go through. Like, if a woman should have her choice of how she wants to deal with her body, it shouldn't have to be the man's choice, like, oh, because you're my wife, you know, you're going to go through this. Like, we're not going to have, you're not going to, it's not your choice. But a lot of people don't understand, like, if a woman wants to have an abortion because she was essayed by somebody and she doesn't want to be reminded about what happened to her, like, she should have that choice. She shouldn't have to, like, go through the situation, shouldn't have to go through, say, the process because she don't want to be reminded about what happened to her. Like, right. And it's,
and so hold on, let me kind of bring you back, Ashley, because
I'm sorry.
And no worries, because I know a lot of people, because I don't want to go down the premise of debating abortion, because I don't want to actually do that, but I want to stick more so to why is it that certain people only want to debate that when it's not something that's necessarily when it's not necessarily something that directly affects them. Like, why is it that, because and it's not just abortion, right? Let's be specific. There are certain men that only want to debate abortion. There are certain non-transgender people that only want to debate about transgender people. There are certain people that aren't people of color that always want to debate racism. And it's a thing where it's something that's not directly connected to them, or they're not directly affected by the topic, but yet they always want to talk about the topic?
I think some people are threatened by something they don't know. I think, you know, if they do a little more research about certain things or ask somebody that has experienced something, they can actually be able to learn instead of having like when it comes to debating things, like it should be also research. It should also be like learned and more. Like I think when people are so just what's it called? So not outraged, but so quote unquote passionate about something to where like it gets to the point like, yo, it's just wild. I think can you forgive me for asking, can you repeat the example question? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And I guess because I want to move it around a little bit more, but I guess the last point I would love to hear you talk about is, do you think that someone debating a point of humanity for others should be accepted?
Do I think someone who debates about humanity should be accepted?
No. Do you think someone debating other people's humanity should be accepted?
Okay. Could you break that down a little bit for me? Like how
basically with abortion, right? Abortion is healthcare, but certain people try to make it a stance of, oh, it's not, it's a human life and da 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 da. And you're taking away the ability for women to make decisions about their own bodies. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's something that other people should actually say, you know what? Hey, this shouldn't be your entire personality?
I believe that why debate about healthcare when healthcare is a necessity? It's a life. We shouldn't have to question about who's worthy to live and who's worthy to not be existing. And I think debating about, who should be able to live and who should be able to, hey, you're on your own. Like it shouldn't be a debate. Like every human has a life that matters. It shouldn't be a debate of who deserves to live because whatever status they are, or who doesn't deserve to live because they're not on the same status or level. Like every human is human. We come from the same, we bleed the same and everything. We shouldn't have to debate. We shouldn't have to debate on who should live and who should not be existence.
I completely agree. And I think that a lot of people miss that, right? They miss the opportunity to really engage in the humanity portion of it versus the actual just overall concept of it. But yeah, great point. Thank you, Ashley. First and foremost, welcome in Parker Raid. Guys. If you just came in from Parker's Live, I hope you guys enjoyed the live. I hope you guys got some good debates, and I think this is the perfect place for you to be after joining Parker's Live. And so what I'll say is, guys, tap the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Let's get the shares up. We do have the daily gift goal, which is the little finger hearts. If we can knock that out a couple of times, it'll help push us out to the FYP. Also, we do have a nightly donation goal of $250, which Debbie's in the chat for Brenda. Brenda just added $10 to the nightly donation goal, saying, staying up for World Series game 3 last night, caught up with me just now. Hope to catch up more tomorrow since I have to be on the road at work by 7 a.m. Absolutely, Brenda. Thank you so much for the 10. Guys, that means that we now only have $225 left in our nightly donation goal. There's well over 1,000 of us, so we can knock that out easy. If there is 225 people, just send $1. $1, we can close that out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out. This actual panel discussion this week, our topic is debate culture. And we're talking about debate culture as a whole. Why is it important to debate? What are you actually trying to get across with your message around debating? We are also getting into knowledge is key, which means understanding the topics that you're actually speaking on. Why is it important to actually have a sense of understanding and knowledge when when engaging in any debate? What's off limits? Because there are certain things that people feel like should or should not be off limits, and we're going to dig into why. And also proving your point, which is based in how do we shape debate culture and what would we like to see moving forward? Chat, that's going to be something that I really need from you all, because when it comes to actually shaping debate culture, the chat has a lot of say so. So that's something that I absolutely will need information from you all for. And with that being said, everyone is accepted when it comes to joining the panel discussion. So if you are someone that would like to join the conversation, go ahead and request up. I'm going to swap people out as much as possible, but this is not a panel where you have to be opposition. It's a panel where if you want to actually join the conversation, then you go ahead and request up. If you ever wanted to join a TikTok live and you've never done so because you've been nervous, this is the perfect place for you, because on late nights, it is a discussion, it's not a debate, and it gives you the opportunity to actually speak and not be spoken over. So if you are interested in coming up and joining the topic, get in the request and we'll go ahead and get you going here in just a second. Also, W's in the chat. W's in the chat for Gene. Gene sent $1 towards the nightly donation goal, saying W Santana, bigger W for Erica. And then also W's in the chat for Cam. Cam sent $1 towards the nightly donation goal. You guys are freaking awesome, guys. I mean, when I say, like, hey, if everybody sends $1, we can knock it out. And the people that do that, I really appreciate you guys so much, because you don't have to do that, but you do. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. With that being said, we have a couple of new people on the panel. I know we have some other people that I need to go back to, but since we have Erica here, I'm going to put her in the box. Going to put Erica on the hot seat, and we're going to dive right into it, especially because we have a bigger crowd, and I want to give them something that they can hold on to. Erica.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. What's up?
Why do men always have the urge to debate abortion? And why are certain women like yourself and other women debaters getting sick and tired of it and don't want to debate them on abortion?
I've been sick and tired of it. I never want to debate men on abortion. Forget that. No, I think the reason why, to seriously answer the question, I think the reason why is because it's a few things. Is one is definitely how they view women as vessels to control. Like I've literally had like men say that women are just vessels, and they've also said incubators. So there's that, and additionally, also in some cases, it's just to be harmful. That's why whenever I start those conversations, I ask a series of questions to see what's their, fundamental understanding of human anatomy. Even asking them about like when ovulation occurs and for how long. Like what's that window of time? Where does conception occur in the body? They always get that one wrong, by the way. I would say where, and then they'll tell me how. And I'm like, I didn't ask you how, I said where. But typically it's about control. And also, most of the time it's about being harmful. So that's why I don't tend to engage in the abortion debate with men. So yeah. What was the second part of the question?
Why is it that it seems like more women are starting to get to the point where they refuse to debate men when it comes to abortion?
Well, I know for me, it's because for one, as a cisgendered, with them being cisgender men, they'll never have the ability to carry, and so they'll never have to live with making such a choice. And it's like I'm not about to argue a woman's right to choose with the person who's never actually going to be able to understand the depth of making such a choice. And then also additionally, it's like if they don't have that fundamental understanding of how conception actually, where it occurs and how it happens, if they don't have, like, they don't know like scientifically when sentience occurs, like then it's no point in arguing with them because they're not doing it in good faith. And
Mm,
so I'm not about to have disingenuous conversations, especially as something important as abortion.
absolutely, absolutely. Terrell, I want to put you on the hot seat if you don't mind.
Hi, Taro.
You
Hi,
see who I
dear.
got over here? Exactly. Terrell, I want to put you on the hot seat if you don't mind, because you know, like I know, one of the other topics that um, straight cis men love to try to hop around TikTok and debate and specifically go at people about is transgender people.
Yeah.
Why are why is there such a group that's so not only um, focused on transgender people, but why is it that they feel like they should be able to debate the humanity of transgender people?
They might not see it as debating humanity. Um, it. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate on this, but I've never really had to debate someone or have a conversation about the trans topic just because it hasn't really come up because I'm not in a safe space really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, but it seems as though that like when conversing with my mother, who is from, I believe, the silent generation, uh, like she told me that sex and gender were taught as the same thing, and this seems to be a bad idea that seems to be continuing and gets perpetuated, whether it is coming from a fetish point of view or
Mm.
from a lack of understanding. Um, I don't know how else to put it because like otherwise I'm just going to go into psychology.
Yeah, no. I get it. I guess because you know what? I feel like you're giving them more of the benefit of the doubt than I would, right? Because for me it seems kind of malicious, and I think I always go back to the fact that like I always say, hey, how many transgender people do you actually know? And I think that it's the fact that it's such a small sector of the U.S. population, and then it's easy to vilify the marginalized groups, and specifically when you talk about the actual um, you know the actual amount of attention that's been put on them by this current Trump administration. I think it makes them an easier target, especially where there's a lot of people that might not actually have a personal connection with transgender people in their life.
Yeah, I thought I had more to add to that. I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. All right. We're gonna introduce the new people on the panel, and then we're gonna keep it moving. So we have Sean. Sean, how are you? Sean, are you there? Sean going once. Sean going twice. Sean Christopher Adams. All right, I'm gonna drop you down. Oh, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know you were up here?
No, I didn't. But
Okay.
since I am, I think it's I think they
Wait,
just
hold on,
want
hold
to
on, hold
have
on, hold on,
something
hold on,
to
hold on, hold on,
complain
hold on,
about.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Got a question for you. Are you
Okay.
someone that actually engages in debate culture? And if so, to what level?
No, no, I only just listening to you guys.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I have a different question for you then.
Okay.
So if you only listen, right? Because this cuts at the heart of another point that I think is super important, and it's the chat, right? And so my wife has told me that oftentimes I need to be mindful of my tone and temperament because the chat tends to follow my lead, and if I get too hot and heavy, so does the chat. But do you think that the actual chat has a role to play in debate culture? Because I know when you go from one live to another live, the chat can be different depending on the creator. But do you think the chat has any culpability in any type of perceived toxicity of debate culture?
Yes, I think they do, but I don't think they should have a place in the debate.
You mean we, right? Not they,
Right.
because you're part of the chat.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you guys are debating, I don't think their comments should affect the debate, because some people that you talk to, when they want to just focus on the chat, and that sort of like takes their mind off of what you're trying to teach them.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have a little bit of a misconception as well when they get on a panel and they shift from engaging with the person that they're speaking to reading the chat at the entire time. And I think that that's super dangerous, right? Because a lot of people get locked into a back and forth conversation. I always tell people, like, I'm not going to debate you if you're in the chat. So, that's a whole thing.
Of course. Right.
But Sean, thank you so much for coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and switch you out. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we have a couple of quick thank yous. I'm going to read these off really quick, and then we're going to get right back to it. And like I said, I'm also going to look to get a couple more people in, and so we're going to keep everything moving. W's in the chat for Amanda. Amanda sent a $4.99 YouTube super chat towards the nightly goal. Amanda, thank you so much for that $4.99 YouTube super chat. You're fucking awesome. Freaking awesome. Sorry. Late nights. W's in the chat for Karen, who sent $1 towards the nightly donation goal. W's in the chat for Nika, who sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal. W's in the chat for Z, who sent a $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal with some confetti. That's wild. W's in the chat for Solomon for the $1 towards the nightly donation goal. W's in the chat for Sarah, who sent $2 towards the nightly donation goal, saying, thank you for being you. Where do I download your intro? You don't. I'm the only one that has it. W's in the chat for Jody, who sent a $3 towards the nightly donation goal, saying, towards the nightly donation goal, also 100% getting tired of hearing men talk about abortion and women should carry a rapist baby. One man said, once you're pregnant, it's no longer your body, no longer your choice, which is a fucking wild statement. W's in the chat for Amy, who sent a $5 towards the nightly donation goal, saying, thank you for always having thoughtful, provoking conversations. Always enjoy listening to your perspective on things, and you always have a great panel of people to discuss with. Absolutely, especially tonight. I'm excited about a couple of people who recently joined, so absolutely. W's in the chat for Tracy for the $1 donation, saying thank you for standing on the right side of history. Absolutely. And W's in the chat for Mad, who just sent a $10 donation, saying I am tired of cis men debating abortion. Just as frustrating are cis men who only debate transgender issues under the guise of protecting women when most of them are no more wary of cis men in any space. I could not agree more. Period. Full stop. Guys, that means that we that means that now we only have $185 left in our nightly donation goal. I know we can knock that out. I know we can. Guys, if you'd like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks For You is the best way to support the live. Everything is accepted, anything's appreciated. And if you're over on the YouTubes, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Listen, I was going to go to Kobe, but Kobe, you're going to have to go on the back burner. I am coming to Sean because I'm hoping Sean saw my, let's see. I'm assuming you didn't see my my Discord message, but at least you saw me bullying you in the chat to get up here.
I saw your Discord message.
Okay, awesome. Sean, I'm gonna make you do some heavy lifting because when I came up with this topic this weekend, Kay and I were talking, and there were a couple of people that were like, "Hey, we need to see if we can get these people here to talk about these things," right? Sean, what the heck is up with Phil Bros? Like, why? Why are so many of them into the meta? And why is it that it's become like such a trend?
This is actually a good thing to. You should have had Jeff up here.
Jeff, Jeff is old and he's usually sleep around this time.
He is usually asleep around this time. But no, it's funny because he writes about, he writes about Phil Bros, and we talk about Phil Bros all the time, and how we don't engage with Phil Bros. Like we refuse to engage with Phil Bros. I just don't
And
care.
I'm sorry, Sean. Can you tell the people who listen? Because I realized this last night when I was talking about it, and a lot of people don't know what Phil Bros are. Can you break that down for the chat, please?
Yeah, Phil Bros are just in the debate space are philosophy bros. Like they're just people who like I wouldn't even say they took a philosophy 101 class. They just read about philosophy one time and now they try and use like words they don't understand in order to make arguments that they can't ground in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure everyone here has seen a Phil Bro when they come up and they talk about like ontological properties and especially for abortion when they talk about the obligation of a person, and they try and tie it all back to like what is morally correct versus what is morally incorrect. That's a Phil Bro. It's just philosophy bro. We just shorten it.
Why do you think that it's like a growing thing? Because I don't know if I'm just more aware of it now or like they're like freaking cockroaches. They're everywhere now.
It's been a thing for a while, but like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like lately it's been growing or shrinking because in my opinion, it hasn't. It just I see the same amount of Phil Bros I've seen before. They just kind of come in waves. But I think when people get into philosophy, this is like my theory. I'm an empiricist, so I only go based on empirical evidence, material reality, anything that can be measured and observed. Phil Bros don't do that. And so they don't have any arguments. They don't have any good arguments to back up what it is that they feel, how they feel, or whatever. So they just come up with anything, honestly, like mumbo. I was going to say something, but then I realized Mama Jones is watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mama Jones is watching. Sean, why do the like it? I hate the ones that get to the point where they're like, well, what's the definition of is? What do you mean by the? Like,
No, actually, yeah, that's actually a real thing. I actually had in a debate about abortion. It's so funny because like they absolutely you would think that you're exaggerating. Like anyone in the chat who thinks like Santana is exaggerating, like they don't do that. No, that's not hyperbole. I literally had someone tell me what does ought mean, like in an abortion debate where I was like, someone ought not have their bodily autonomy, right? And they were like, oh, well, what does ought mean? And I was just like, it just means should. And they're like, well, what does should mean? And I was just like, do you really want to do this? And then we got really pedantic, and that became the debate. Like, if should mean this or should mean that, what they wanted it to mean. And it was just they tend to do that, but it's because they don't have an argument. Like when people get into philosophy and try and like layer their arguments with all of these like words that they don't understand and concepts that they don't understand, it's because they can't justify it any other way. I made this observation a little while back where I was like, at the time I didn't want to do any abortion debates because I had only seen abortion debates and I was so sick of abortion debates and everyone was doing them badly. And I was like, I can't do abortion debates the way I want to do abortion debates, which is just if you ever ask me, I do abortion debates now, but if y'all ever see me in an abortion debate, I give them everything that they want when they talk about it. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. So when someone talks about abortion, it's just like, oh, well, you think that it would be okay? Like they tend to make this analogy or argument, whatever it's called, where they go, well, what if the baby's head is out and then the mother doesn't want it anymore, so the doctor stabs it in the head?
What?
and unalive the baby. That yeah, this is a real scenario that they say. I just go, so what? I just go, so what? I don't care. Like, what am I supposed to do? Unstab the baby? Like, what do you mean? But they tend to make this argument. But I was tired of abortion debates because it was mostly Phil Bros, and most of their arguments are just appeals to emotion. Once you get past all of like the jargon and then calling you fallacious, saying that you're using whatever fallacy, what it comes down to is it makes me feel icky, so I don't want to do it. And that's not any substantiation. But philosophy allows for them in their own inner circles to justify what makes them feel icky being justified as a reason for everyone shouldn't be able to do it. Because then they say they trick themselves into thinking in their Discord servers or wherever into thinking that these are good arguments.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting how they end up going in circles and they end up like being completely locked into that little bubble, and it's a whole weird thing. But yeah, like they yeah. Really quick, and I know there's a couple of people that I want to get to, but W's in the chat for Amber, who sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Said thank you for fighting the good fight. Thank you so much, Amber. You're amazing. Also, W's in the chat for let's see here. Christina sent a $1 donation saying, I don't know if you remember me from last night. I do, but I'm streaming your live on my Discord, and we have had some of the very same productive discussions because of these. Thank you for making a difference. Well, first and foremost, W to you, and what up, Discord? That is apparently the good Discord, the friendly Discord. W's in the chat for you. I appreciate you so much. That's awesome. Also, W's in the chat for Joanne over on the YouTubes, who sent a $1.99 super chat to say, my body, my choice, nightly goal. I know that's right. W's in the chat for Danielle, who sent a $3 donation saying, love you, Santana. Wish I can give more. Danielle, seriously. And not just Danielle, but seriously, every single person. Times are hard, and I appreciate each and every one of you in each and every way. I don't care if it's $1 or $2, $3, it does not matter. If you actually are willing to donate your hard-earned money to help support the live, not only are you appreciated, but I am never not going to say thank you. I truly, truly mean that, because you don't have to do it. So thank you. Never say sorry for whatever you decide to contribute, because you don't have to contribute anything. And I mean that. W's in the chat for Felonous, who sent a $4.99 super chat to say, nightly goal, Phil Bros and the text walls of the Phil Bros and the text walls of $100 words with no real substance are headaches. For real. Yes, they never actually have any real substance at all. Like, not even a little bit. Also, W's in the chat for Teresa, who sent a $1 donation saying, sorry, Santana, not a lot of money. Again, I just said, stop saying sorry, guys. I promise you. Like, I promise you. And that's why I say, if everybody's sending $1, we can knock it out. We don't need, anything crazy. But also, I said, here's $1 for the nightly goal. I love seeing you up on Parker's Live. You're awesome. Keep up the good work. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, that means we only have $178 left in the nightly donation goal. We can knock that out. If 178 people send $1 to the Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Santana Speaks for You, best way to support the live. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. All right, sorry, that was a lot. All right, I want to come to Scientific Static Stitch, because I know you have to drop. I also want to come back to Taro. We got to introduce Kobe. Chewy hasn't spoken in a while. There's a lot. So, Stitch, floor is yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing before I go to bed. I've been listening to a lot of abortion debates lately, and the only thing that I really wanted to say is that people need to talk about pulmonary hypertension more.
Yes, I heard you talking about that the other day. Absolutely.
I feel like nobody talks about it.
Yep, that was a great call out.
I hope somebody talks about it more, because it's so sad, and it's something that's a gray area that is not covered in any kind of way on most of these lives, and that's just something.
Would you like to take a moment just to kind of speak to that for people who don't know?
Sure. Basically, pulmonary hypertension is a contraindication to pregnancy, which basically means that similar to how different medicines can't be taken together, if you have pulmonary hypertension, you cannot also be pregnant because it significantly increases your risk of being unalived by like 37%. And the reason for this is because similar to how hypertension increases blood pressure in your body, pulmonary hypertension increases blood pressure in your lungs and can basically cause you to suffocate. That's the only thing I wanted to say. I just really need to go to bed now. Good night.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for coming up, and thank you for drawing attention to that. And that's something, like I said, I heard you say it the other day, and I was like, yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. W's in the chat. Thank you so much. Also, W's in the chat for TJ, who sent a $1 donation saying, Tina, Erica, and Scientific Snitch on the panel. Holy W. I know that's right. W's in the chat for as well. Chipman, who sent a $7 donation saying, thank you for putting out calm debates where everyone feels heard. Absolutely. That's what late nights is absolutely about. Thank you so much. W's in the chat. All right. Let's introduce Kobe real quick, and then Taro, Chewy, coming back around to you. Eric, I know you had your hand up, and we're going to keep it moving. Kobe, how are you? Kobe, are you there? I'm sure Kobe walked away. I'm going to send you a request to come off mute.
I have my fingers crossed he took a nap.
Kobe sometimes turns into a goldfish. Kobe, are you there? Kobe, if you can hear the phone, if you're within reach of the phone, come back to the phone, Kobe. Kobe sometimes turns into a goldfish. We'll come back. Taro, before I swap you out, because one, I know you're used to being over on the YouTubes, but two, you've been up here hanging out with us for a while, and I just want to thank you for doing that. But I guess the last thing I have for you is, what do you think the shift should be in debate culture? Because I see that there's a lot of people searching for something different. What do you think we need to head when it comes to debate culture as a whole?
I'm probably always going to say conversations, or like how Dean and Parker will talk to a person once. It's there's a method that seems to work called street epistemology that actually like relies on more than one conversation in order to build rapport and to actually like give a person the time to think about what they like, how they actually believe things in their epistemics. And it like I love good blood sport, but it's I really don't know, because like I think it's mostly we got to start having conversations with folks when they're ready to have that honest conversation.
Yeah, I agree, and I think even more so, sniffing out whether people are there for a real conversation, a good conversation, is something that's going to happen versus people being disingenuous or just trying to show up for the sake of being chaotic. So that's a whole thing. Anyway, Taro, thank you so much for coming over and hanging out with us tonight.
2 things before I go, if I may.
Sure.
You had said that I am more lenient on people of the other side.
Well, you give more grace than me. Maybe I'm just,
It's mostly because I used to be much worse, and I changed. And I'm not saying that people like are going to change, because some people psychologically can't and they won't, but we don't find that out by assuming that they're not going to. And the other thing was, I believe with Sean, when you're talking about the semantics and the linguistics of how words are used, you're not discussing philosophy anymore. That's just I can't stand those people. Thank you so much. Viva la revolution, free Palestine.
I know that's right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. W's in the
Appreciate
chat for
y'all.
tarot, guys. All right. Chewy, coming to you. It's been a while. Chewy, I guess the question that I have for you is more so along the lines of dealing with people who are bad faith, right? Because we were just kind of speaking on the Phil Bros, and I think Phil Bros are absolutely bad faith. But there's not just one form of bad faith actors. There are certain people that literally come into debate lives just to crash out. Now, I'll give you a specific example. I was watching Parker's live earlier, right before I went live, and there was a lady that came up, and she intentionally steamrolled. She intentionally talked over him. She intentionally tried to antagonize him to see if she could get a rise out of him, and she couldn't get that much of a reaction. And then she finally just left right after actually doing so. And I think that those type of people are super harmful because not only do they break up the flow of what's trying to be accomplished with any type of live, but they are ultimately harmful because it's not just something that they would just go into one live and do. They go all across the board and find as many lives to crash in as possible. So one, how do we identify those people quickly to keep them from derailing the overall conversation? But two, why do you think they actually do that?
I mean, obviously it's you can't just look. I mean, sometimes you can look at a profile picture and maybe figure out it's oh, they got an anime character and they are following two people. It's, what we most commonly refer to as a bot account or something like that. And obviously they are there in bad faith just to create or antagonize a situation. But usually I would say, I mean, obviously you have to give them a chance to have the floor, but especially like more so, I think this is kind of on moderators and like, I'm going to throw some W's to your moderators. They're really good on watching that. And I've seen in some chats as well, where they will vet people before they even get up there. They'll check into them, see what they're about. And I used to mod for several people. There was sometimes I never did, but I mean, like, I could have literally doxed a person before they said a word because I was able to find that much information. Especially some of the MAGA folk like to tend to go up with their full government names, and it's usually not too hard to figure out who they are and what they're about. But you can always have mods doing that, and that's helpful. And then once they start speaking, if it's clear that they're not there in good faith, you have to shut it down. And you're always going to get pushback because people are like, oh, you got to let them talk. No, if it's not honest debate, if it's not honest conversation, if it's not something worthwhile, you don't have to give credence or a voice to that. That's not, and you shouldn't want that even as opposition. You would want your opposition being reasonably vocalized to the debate. And that's also where even us, if it's in if we're in support of that person, if they're going up there in bad faith just to create havoc, it still doesn't help our quote unquote side any. And that is what we just have to make sure we are on top of as mods, as guests, being courteous and calling it out and being like, hey, keep on trying. I mean, you can give simple prompts, and if the person is unwilling, we drop and we move on because it's no longer a debate. It's a clear crash out or an antagonizing situation, or worst case scenario, it's someone just wants to slur to try to get a rise or something of that nature.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really appreciate you bringing that up because it's one of those situations where A lot of people, you can tell that they are like professional antagonists, right? And they only want to engage in the negative aspect of it, and it's really weird. And so you tend to see them hopping from place to place to place, and they really engage in that. So absolutely. 1 second. So we have new people on the panel, and I want to come back to Erica and Sean as well. But one more try. Kobe, are you back? Are you still away? Kobe, are you on the panel? Kobe, I'm going to send you a request to come off mute. Kobe going once. Kobe going twice. All right, Kobe, I'm just going to drop you down. All right. All right. Let's just drop Kobe down. Really quick, let me catch up on the super chats because holy smokes. W's in the chat for Scott for $19.99 super chat to say, gotta hit that goal, my dude. I know that's right. W's in the chat, Scott. W's in the chat for Steven, who sent a $5 super chat to say, love Parker and Dean, but you're my favorite. I appreciate it. W's in the chat for Lenny for the $10 euro to say, tariff-free dono from Ireland. Bless you. Thank you so much. Listen, those tariffs are wicked. W's in the chat for Feisty. I can't see the message. Why can't I see the message? I don't know. I can't see the message. W's in the chat for Feisty, though. Thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate you. W's in the chat for oh no. Virillion Feisty did not say anything about brown eggs or whole wheat eggs. Like Virillion, no. Feisty did not say that. Whatever. W's in the chat for Ivan, who sent a $1.99 super chat to say sent hearts. I appreciate you. W's in the chat for Corporate Kane, who sent a $5 super chat to say debate culture needs less of a flow chart. Debaters need to find flow of facts and try to steer callers into a precise list of fallacies. It's formatic. It absolutely is. W's in the chat for Thomas, who sent a $10 super chat to say the parameters of RFS have taken control of the the paramilitary of RFS have taken control of Sudanese cities. Al-Fahira, I know I'm messing that up. Puppeteered by the Russia, UAE, and many evil people. It isn't being spoken about enough. Everyone, please go learn about the situation. Thomas, if you can send me anything on that, I will go look that up for sure. And I would definitely love to talk about that because wow. W's in the chat for Lisa for the $13 donation saying some dowry dues as you make the fifis in my tum-tum. I have some hope. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Debbie's in the chat for Rhea. I read your message and I will figure that out. And Debbie's in the chat for not for me, but for Erica. Anthony sent a $22 donation for Erica. Say, sorry, PayPal/Venmo won't work. So there's that. Debbie's in the chat.
My money.
Yeah, whatever. Let's see if you get it. W's in the chat, guys. That means that we now only have let's see here, 155 left in the nightly donation goal. Guys, we can definitely knock that out. If 155 people send $1, we can close out the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks For You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Skeeto, how are you?
Scotto, and actually it's
Scotto,
me.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's I'm not sending you any more. I just gave you 40 on YouTube.
Appreciate it.
No worries, brother. No, listening to all of this, I mean, and watching your lives, watching Dean's lives, watching Parker's lives, what I've seen a lot is when people go up to crash out, they go up to rage bait. A lot of it is, I mean, super based on an absence of control and just trying to take power back. In a lot of ways, it's almost like a rapist culture that, especially men arguing abortion. I mean, that's, it's just, stay out of it, man. Seriously. But no, watching all of these debates, watching these lives, watching when you guys actually get a good faith actor wanting to vehemently debate their side and still have the opportunity to grow and listen to what we have to say. I mean, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah. No, so Skeeto, I have a question for you, and it's kind of similar to the other question that I had, because you are someone that watches other people's lives, right? And you are actively engaging. And again, I keep putting this out because it's something that I've noticed as someone who hosts my own space, right? And I will go into Erica's space, or I will go into Sean's space, or I'll go into Parker, Dean, Zeus. I will go into so many different other creators' space, and the chats are different depending on the creator. But I often wonder, there's often times where certain chats are toxic, right? Let's just be completely honest about it.
Oh, absolutely.
They're very toxic, and not only in the chat, but they take it to like a Discord, and they continue to push that negativity, and they do harmful things, whether it's threatening the opposition, right? Sending them a bunch of messages, and some people go as far as trying to dox people. But like, is there a need to address even the chat in debate culture?
There absolutely is. I mean, it's, and this is a point that needs to be made clear to people on both sides of the aisle. This is an opportunity to educate. This is an opportunity to grow as a community. And when you engage in just blatant and like violent hostility for nothing else than somebody else's point of view, all you're doing is creating a deeper divide, a deeper polarization that is, in my opinion, the biggest problem that we're facing as a world today.
I completely agree, and I think that divide is something that is absolutely visible, and something that we have to address. And I think that, in my opinion, as debaters or creators, it's our responsibility to foster an environment that knows boundaries, but also it's up to like the chat for specifically when you go into a different person. I say this all the time, right? Because I'm very intentional when I say this, because I'll leave like Parker's panel or Parker's live, and then I'll go to Erica's live, and then there might be a raid that follows me over because they see me live and they come from Parker's live and they go into Erica's live, and I have to often say like, hey, this is a different space. This is a Black woman's space. You need to make sure you understand the difference in the space, and you need to make sure you respect the difference in the space. And I think that's something that we need to start normalizing as well within the chat, because the chat does play a huge role in the actual debate culture. And I think the chat has a huge influence on the debater, just as the debater has a huge influence on the chat.
No, I agree completely. And with the exception of Not Phil, I'll say that for the most part, that killed me, man. Not Phil killed me. But with the exception of Not Phil, I've seen you intentionally not engage. Like you'll engage with the chat after the fact, but when somebody comes up to try and rage bait, and I know the chat blows up over this, even though I'm usually on YouTube and not on TikTok, I don't really mess with this too often. You don't allow them to push you into that hostile environment, despite the fact that chat is getting pissed for you. And really what they need to do, in addition to reading the room that they're in, is reading the creator, reading the person on the screen that's putting his, putting their them out there. If you don't want to engage, why should the chat?
Yeah. I completely agree. All right, give me a second here. All right. Creed, how are you? Creed, are you there? You were off mute, now you're back on mute. Now you're off mute. I can't hear you if you're speaking. I see you coming off mute to speak, but I can't hear you. Maybe, yeah, swipe out, swipe back in. And if it doesn't work, then you can drop and then come right back out. I'll bring you right back up if it still doesn't work. I see you coming off mute, but I don't hear you. try dropping and then like force closing your app and then come back. We'll come back to you. Debbie's in the chat for Ruby, who added $10 to the nightly donation goal, saying, love listening to meaningful, important topics. Guys, that's what we do here on Late Nights. Like literally, that's what Late Nights is all about. Late Nights is about a conversation. It's not about the debate. It's not about dunking on each other. It's literally about being able to foster an environment that has a conversation and it has a meaning. So we do weekly topics on Late Night. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific for 3 hours. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have Late Nights and we have different topics. So that's what we do here on Late Nights versus like sparring, which is a debate. But with that being said, Debbie's in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. Give me 1 second. Debbie's in the chat for Ruby. Thank you so much for that, guys. That means we only have $145 left in the nightly donation goal. I know for a fact we can knock that out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and links are in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube and you like to send a super chat, you can do so, and I will read that out. Creed, how are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Creed, so I know, but I'm gonna throw it out there to you. Are you someone that engages in debate culture, and if so, to what level?
A little bit, but not really. I mean, I've been on yours one time. I've been on Dean's like a couple, and Parker's a couple.
Okay, all right, okay.
But
Creed.
the main thing I came up here was after I was, remember when me and you and Dean or whatever was on the live. After that, everyone was in my DMs and making videos about me and crap. And I just came here to say, I don't think it's okay to post videos of me, you know, on the internet. I don't know.
Got it. So that's exactly where I was just about to lean into. So with you, right, your unique situation, and I think that there's lore behind, Phil, not Phil, Creed, all this other stuff. But the one thing that I would like to talk about is, well, it's two facets, right? One, I would like for you to talk a little bit more about your experience, because that it's literally something that I just talked about, right? Where the chat will latch on to a certain, person that is quote unquote opposition, and they do, different things, whether it's flooding their inbox or, getting in their comments, all this other stuff. From your perspective, you were just saying that you don't appreciate that. Tell me, what role do you think the chat has to play in fostering an environment where someone who is quote unquote opposition would even want to engage? Because, like, let's be honest, without having the opposite end for the debate, it becomes a boring monologue session. But if there is an instance where the chat is, so visceral towards anyone that's going to come up, then people who consider to be opposition won't actually come up and engage.
Yes. I think it has a big role on it, because there was whenever I left, there was 300 people who commented on my video and DM'd me and crap. And I did get a couple where they were saying crazy stuff, like calling me a grapist and all kinds of just that's one example. There was a whole bunch of crap in my DMs and stuff, and
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And while I disagree with anyone partaking in those types of things, I think that is unacceptable in any way, shape, or form, right? Especially harassing people in their DMs or harassing people on their videos and things along those lines. Like, that is absolutely unacceptable. Now, Phil, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
my name.
Creed,
Okay,
I messed up.
thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Okay.
Creed,
Yes.
it's time for us to talk about accountability on your part as well, though, right? So,
Okay.
what role do you think that coming into, because this isn't just a you thing, this is something that you see a lot in debate culture, people who end up being quote unquote opposition, but they come in and they tend to immediately crash out, right? And whether it's an immediate crash out or a build towards a crash out, do you think that being unable to, I guess, control yourself enough to engage in a long-term debate also incites the negativity that comes your way.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody should crash out on a debate live. Like, there shouldn't, like, nobody should crash out on a debate live. And, I mean...
But you've done it.
No, I haven't.
It's on YouTube. The video is like, it's goated. So let's be honest, right?
No, I
this is an
never
honest
crashed
conversation.
out. I
What
was
do you
just
consider a crash out to be?
like, I mean, getting mad and going crazy and stuff, and like, I don't know, just a crash out.
Okay, so you don't. What do you consider gaslighting to be?
Like, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, maybe leading something on or leading somebody on.
Are you gaslighting me about gaslighting?
No, I'm not gaslighting you about gaslighting.
Because I feel like that's what you just did just now. I mean, and unless you truly don't know what gaslighting is, which I would be kind of shocked about that. But even more so, like, and again, this is a genuine conversation, and like I just said, while the chat does have culpability when it comes to debate culture and trying to respect the boundaries of anyone who has a different point of view, Creed, you screaming, yelling, and really just like going off the deep end.
I only screamed like a couple times. That was it, though. I didn't even necessarily scream. I just was saying, I don't know.
Creed, you said you woke up your entire house.
Well, because I did scream one time, and I guess people in my house aren't heavy sleepers, but that was only that one time, though.
I guess my point being is, like, when you get into those types of conversation, like, what do you think the outcome is going to be? Like, do you think that there's even a possibility for a positive conversation or a positive outcome when impulse control is lost and it turns into like a shouting session?
Well, I think if there was respect in the debate, then I think it would go more smoothly than what it has, I feel
agree.
like, I don't know.
I agree. I
I had
absolutely
like
agree.
10,000 people call me Phil and crap.
Yeah. All right. So I guess moving past that, and I'm sorry, guys, but I kind of want to stick here for half a second because this leads me into another thought process that I have. Creed, why is it that you or other people similar to you, for some reason feel comfortable with debating people's humanity?
What do you mean by debating people's humanity? Like,
specifically, the reason why the whole Phil name came across is because, one, you didn't like me calling you a name that you don't subscribe to, but two, you were adamant about the misgendering of transgender people, right? Not respecting pronouns. But specifically, you wanted to talk about transgender people, and not only did you want to have a conversation with me about transgender people, but you wanted to have a conversation with Parker about transgender people. You tried to have a conversation with Dean about transgender people, and like the right for transgender people to exist is just that. It's their right. Like, they just want to exist. But for some reason, certain people, and you being one in this situation, feel very comfortable, or at least a desire to debate their humanity as if they shouldn't.
Well, I mean, I just think that there's certain parts in that I don't agree with, but
I'm not talking about your perspective on
I know,
transgender people, but
respecting what or who they are. I mean, I understand that, but I mean, I don't know.
But but so I guess what it rolls back to then is like, why is it that humanity is even a topic that's acceptable for a debate?
Well, I think the main reason why people bring that up is the thing about transgender people in transgender people in women's sports. I think
Right, but
that's
that's
really
a
the only
scare
reason.
tactic, and don't get it twisted. I mean, I'm saying transgender people or transgender rights at the moment, but it's not just transgender people, because there's multiple facets of humanity that people tend to want to debate, and whether it's abortion, whether it's like racism, whether it's any type of human rights. And there's particular people where they make that the basis of who they are, and they only want to debate those human rights.
Well, then I don't necessarily agree with that, I guess. I mean, if that's all that they care about, then I mean, it's their opinion. I mean, I can't say that they're wrong for like I agree with the same stuff. I don't agree that abortion or the transgender stuff is, right, but there's also other factors into it too, not just basing it all on that and then attacking those people. I don't attack those people. That's my opinion.
Okay. Erica, Sean, if you guys don't mind, I want to defer to you two for a second, because I think this may not necessarily be landing, but I would love to have both of you chime in, because again, I've heard Creed and people similar to Creed specifically go from live to live to live and debate abortion and then debate transgender rights. And they debate those things as if we're talking about what's the difference between Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, or what's the difference between Dan Marino and Joe Montana. Like, they debate it as if it's a sport, or more so a talking point, versus actual humanity. Am I missing something, or like what do you two land with that?
I'm sorry, Sean can go first. I'm trying to figure out if my 11-year-old ate all the lemon heads. What are we doing?
Okay. All right, Sean.
Hold up.
Guys, tap the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up as well. Let's get the likes up to 300,000 likes. I know we can do that. I know we can get the likes up to 300,000 likes. I have faith in you guys. Also, guys, we still have $145 in the nightly donation goal. Again, there's 843 people here hanging out. We can definitely knock that out. If 145 people send just $1, we can close that out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything's accepted and things appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Also, guys, make sure you follow this account. This is the main account. Make sure you hit that follow button. If you look up at the top, you see the word follow. Hit that follow button. Also, this is the backup account. We've been doing more debates on the backup account. So make sure you follow the backup account as well. So follow the main account and follow the backup account, because we've been doing more debates on the backup account. This is night 2 of Late Nights with Santana, with the topic being debate culture. If you missed last night, you can always go back over on YouTube and rewatch it. It's on Santana Speaks over on YouTube. And we will have the third and final night of this discussion tomorrow night, starting at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, where we will dig into more of the actual not only conclusion, but how do we take it to the next level. I know there's more people in the box, and I'm going to try to circle some of the people in and out in just a few moments here. With that being said, I wanted to check back in with Sean and Erica to see if either one of them are good to go.
I'm good.
Okay, go ahead.
Got the lemon heads. Got the freeze dried kind. Anywho, no, I really don't understand why they want to debate someone's existence, their right to exist, their right to actually choose to live in their truth. It will never make sense to me. I honestly think that it is something that comes from a place of ignorance. But when the person has had the conversation on multiple platforms, so basically in different spaces, and yet they still have the same exact arguments, it's no longer a point of just ignorance. You're being willfully obtuse and you're being willfully ignorant at that point. And so that's disingenuous. And so again, I don't quite I don't quite understand it, but it's not something that I'm willing to engage in. And back to an earlier point, the reason why I can't have certain conversations with people, especially like debate bros and Phil bros, is because of the simple fact. Because Santana, I don't say let's have a debate. I say let's have a conversation, right? Let's have a conversation, and they come up, and I get debate bros and Phil bros who don't. I can say that. Let me be quiet. Who want to deal in hypotheticals about every single thing, and their hypotheticals are based in absolutism. All right, it's either black or it's white. It's nothing else in between. And did Creed leave? He didn't want to
He
respond to
did.
that one.
He absolutely left.
Oh well,
He
he be all right.
absolutely left. Okay.
But I mean, and again, and that's another thing. It's like you can't engage in genuine conversations with some people. Like dealing with a person today who came into another space that I was in. I told Phil on Discord, I was like, watch this. He knew exactly what I meant when I said, watch this. I started to engage this person, and I was talking to them very calmly, and just letting them know certain things about immigration, and not making any accusations or making any judgments upon them or anything, strictly talking about what it is that the majority of people want when it comes to immigration in the United States of America. The first thing he says out of his mouth is, well, Obama did the same thing Trump is doing, and it's like, you know what? I knew it. I knew you weren't capable of having a genuine conversation. You aren't capable of actually looking at the gray matter and applying any context and nuance to this conversation. So it's pointless to speak with you, unfortunately. Whereas you saw today with someone on my live how the conversation went. I mean, I didn't think that I'd be able to change his mind because I never think that I'm in a position to do so. But Chris and I were able to have a genuine conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so but a lot of them deal in absolutes, and that's definitely a fallacy. And if their mind is already made up to be like, okay, I'm concluding that A does in fact equal B and it equals nothing else, then I can't do it. And I can't debate someone's existence. Like I can't debate a transgender person's existence. I because they have a right to be who they are. I can't debate a woman's right to choose because it is her body. And there are so many different circumstances, so many variables that I can't debate it. So that's it.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. W's in the chat for Sam. Sam added $1 towards the nightly donation goal. And so that means we're only $144 away from closing that out. Sean, would you like to chime in? I know Phil ran, but
Well, yeah, I mean, I can chime in. There's a lot of layers here. I'm gonna start off with I'll start off with answering your question. Your question was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your question was that why do people make such a point to essentially debate other people's existence?
Exactly.
Right. Honestly, I think the reason is because no one seems to know what debate is. Like it's like when it comes to debate is about like finding the truth and by evaluating like all of the possible variables and coming to like a conclusion that is reached through investigating each other's points. And usually the investigation has to do with empirics, things that are empirical. I think there's way too much leeway given and I know people aren't going to stop doing this, but there's just way too much leeway given to people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Ooh, go down that road, because one of the points that I made to highlight, and this is something that we talked about, in which it's covered under the knowledge is key portion. And shout outs to Joanna, because when she said it, I immediately colonized it. But maybe we should normalize people not talking about stuff that they don't know anything about.
Yeah, I mean, we should normalize embarrassing the hell out of them, like doing everything that we can to embarrass the hell out of them, and expect and like point out the fact that they are embarrassed. Like that's when I debate, that's my tactic. Like when I debate, my tactic is to like interrogate what it is that you know, to figure out even if you could have the debate, like where you're coming from. I should probably, I don't usually hold debate spaces about things that I don't already know. So it tends to be about the existence of people or whatever. But it seems to be those things are the things that people want to talk about anyway. So I don't necessarily know why I went down that tangent, because if niggas ain't gonna talk about nothing, or sorry, if nobody ain't gonna talk about nothing else, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sean be forgetting. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, listen. Let me get to the point. The point is this. I think there's way too much leeway given to people who don't know what they're talking about, and by that I mean like the idea of like. So I'm a stir the pot a little bit because somebody said something up here, and I was just like, nah, because they were saying that that the debate is like the divide is one of the biggest things that is like one of the worst things in the country right now or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like the divide, you think the divide is worse than police brutality? Bruh. But like but like there's people arguing that police should be able to unalive black people for no reason other than they're black, because they believe black people are bad. But when you interrogate that narrative falls apart. They tend to, 1350 the whole thing.
Yep.
And when you interrogate that narrative, it turns out they don't know what they're talking about. They have zero idea what they're talking about. And we go through like a lot of debaters. I don't really do this, but a lot of debaters tend to go through this like learning and like this educational thing where they teach the ops what it is that the ops don't know, instead of pointing out that the ops don't know anything about it. Like you can still, like for me, I educate my audience, but I do so like for me when I debate, it's usually about like, because there's no formal debate setting on to ain't nobody doing Lincoln Douglas debates on this joint.
Right.
So like for me, it's just about educating the audience and making it as entertaining as possible. And I do that by way of like asking people questions that if you really held like the belief that like trans people or like trans women aren't women, trans men aren't men, ask them a very simple question that I know that they don't know. Or if they really believe that black people commit most of the crime, ask them a question that they don't really know anything about, stuff like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I do, I subscribe to the theory of shame. And I think that we should shame people for being willfully ignorant or being actively harmful. So like I'm not above that. I do also the thing about me is I try to gauge the actual debate or the conversation and see if it's a situation where people are engaging in good faith and I can actually try to connect and make a real point with them, or if they're just up here, some people just love to do the racism. And if you love to do the racism, then I can get down with it and I can just flat out, bring the pain, because I have a favorite question and I always get that favorite question out. So,
I think that there is, I'm not telling you how to do you, but I do think that there is something, because I tell my brother all the time, Solid, that he gets fatigued debating because he wants like a good faith conversation. Whereas like me, if you see my debate tactics or if you see my debate topics versus Solid's debate topics, they're like night and day.
Right.
Where like Super Solid will say 1350 is a myth. But my topic will be, if you believe 1350, you hate black people.
Yeah.
And so when people come up, they immediately know what kind of seat they're in. And they're like, well, why do you think I hate black people? Because I believe in something that's true. And I'm just like, okay, so now what you're trying to prove is that you don't hate black people, which is the point of the debate in the first place. Like, at least for them. The point of debate for me, again, educate the audience. But they immediately know what kind of seat that they're walking into, instead of it being like they think that they're walking into something where someone wants like a good, honest debate. And then once they get proven wrong, they just crash out. Now I know like the crash out's going to come very, very early if they pop up into the panel, because they immediately know that I know you hate black people.
Yeah. And that's something that like I've been told multiple times that I kind of hide the intentions behind some of my stuff, and I do that intentionally to try to see if I can pull out a good faith debate versus getting into like just the whole thing. So yeah. Really quick, because we got a couple of people on the panel that haven't gotten to speak yet, and so I want to make sure we do that. But Debbie's in the chat for Brittany. Brittany sent a $5 donation saying, I'm furloughed, otherwise I would send more. Thank you for all that you do. When it feels hopeless, watching your lives give me hope. First and foremost, Brittany, I'm hoping that everything works out super soon, right? I mean, I'm hoping that the furlough is, the least of the situation. I know a lot of people are in a very tough situation overall. And so thank you, right? Because you didn't have to do that. So I really, really, really absolutely appreciate you adding to the nightly donation goal. And even more so, like I said, I'm really hoping that everything works out really soon, especially with this government shutdown. You're awesome. W's in the chat for Carol. Carol sent a $50 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Carol, you are freaking amazing. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. W's in the chat for Carol, guy. Keep it going. And also W's in the chat for Drew. Drew sent a $25 towards the nightly donation goal, saying, keep making the world a better place. Drew, I will do it if you continue to help me to do so. It's all of our responsibility to try to make the world a better place and foster a better environment for not only each other, but for our kids and future generations. So Drew, thank you so much for the $25 donation. Guys, that means we're only $64 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. I know for a fact that we can do that. If 64 people send $1, we can close it out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and links are in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on the YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Lisa, coming to you. I know that you've been waiting for a while. Lisa, thank you so much for your patience. Lisa, I don't want to pigeonhole you into a point. I just want to give you the floor. You can pick up on where we were, or you can actually go ahead and talk about what you originally wanted to talk about when you came up, because I saw that you said you had a point.
Yeah, so I really love this topic because it's something that I've been talking about for a couple weeks. I started doing my own lives because I wanted to try to create a space for some of these people that are coming out of MAGA, and there is people coming out of MAGA. I keep seeing them. It's weirdly enough, it was because of CK. Go figure with that one. But anyway, I think it's kind of a conspiracy theory that they bought into, but I don't care. Whatever floats their boat, if it brings them out of it and it makes them see other things, I'm happy for it. But what I didn't do notice that when people come from MAGA and say, I voted for Trump, but I'm starting to question stuff. A lot of people on our side from the left, get really angry, rightfully so, right? And be like, we told you before the election this was going to happen. Where have you been? Da, 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 da. And I understand that. But we also can't take all of our anger and frustration and hold one person accountable for every single person that voted for Trump and everything Trump's done, as much as we might want to, and as much as they do hold responsibility for some of it, right? I do think that we also have to try to figure out, are these people really trying to have the conversation, or are they just trying to rationalize the vote that they took because now they're not feeling so good about it? Right? And they're feeling a little shame, a little guilt, and they want us to give them some kind of absolution for the choice. And they'll say stuff like, well, Kamala had all word salad and like, weird stuff. You guys don't even know what a woman is. I mean, you guys already hit on that, but so you know what I mean. But I do think that giving grace, and I know Santana, you give people a lot of grace, you do. And I try to do my best to do it. And I think that, it's true that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I had a guy on tonight and he was afraid to tell me he voted for Trump, and he kind of beat around the issue until he understood that I wasn't going to castigate him over it. And at first he was like very defensive, walls up, but I kind of danced around some of the talking points that he was giving me and got to the real issue. And then I had him we came to an understanding, even if we didn't find total agreement by the end. So I do think that the conversations are definitely worth having, and we're going to have a small window to grab these people as they come out of MAGA, because Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are just waiting to scoop them up. I 100% believe Tucker Carlson's going to run for president and try to take over as, the heir apparent to MAGA. And that's what he's been doing. And so we're going to have a small window to answer their questions, and to try to get them to see reason. And
so just to kind of bring it back, because I don't want to specifically get too far off. I know we were talking about the specifics of like debate, right? And the specifics of politics. I don't want to go down the road on a specific topic, but I do want to talk about like where you just said, as far as like fostering an environment that is conducive to certain people, right? Whether it's being able to target a certain type of conversation, debate, or whatever, or being able to actually connect with people. And I think that's important. I guess, and that kind of rolls into like what I always think about as far as like the end goal, and which I'm guess tomorrow is going to be really more of a focus on that. But I guess my question to you, just to kind of recenter it back to where we want to be with this topic, do you think that overall the influence that debate creates, is it something that we need to be mindful of because of the actual way that it can shift the thought process of society?
Yes, because we're creating an environment where we're at odds, where we're divided and we're battling, right? We're actually at odds and treating each other like enemies. And that's why, we get a lot of people that come up on our lives that are already got their walls up. They're already defensive. They're all ready for a fist fight. And it starts putting people into the mindset of seeing each other as enemies. And when you got people like Trump calling us enemies, saying we're the enemy from within, and having that posture, then yes, debate culture can 100%. And I feel like a lot of the debate culture, we're just going over the same topics again and again, the same talking points, and we're not getting anywhere. I don't see it getting us anywhere. Every once in a while, you'll have a breakthrough. Somebody will go up with Dean or Parker and be like, yeah, I watch you do it and you turn me around. And I think that's wonderful. But I don't know. I think we have to have a better environment, one where we give grace and space for people to be human and say, yeah, I might have screwed this one up.
Yeah, I do think that there's definitely something to that in the sense of actually, being able to understand where people are looking for a positive exchange, and then being able to actually grant that positive exchange if it's something that's genuine versus anyone who is looking to engage in bad faith. So I definitely think that that's something. All right, give me a second here. Let's see. I'm just gonna call you Bat Baby. Bat Baby, how are you? Send you a request to come
Can
off.
you hear me?
Yes, there we go. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. So what would you like to add to the conversation around debate culture where we are today?
Oh my goodness. Let me just say I've been watching you guys for you and Erica and Dean and Parker and Matt and I'm blanking on the gentleman whose son passed away due
Brett.
to gun violence.
Brett.
Anyway, I've been
Brett.
watching all of you guys for a long time. First off, I want to say
Can you
thank
hear
you
me?
for having your lives.
Am I muted?
Oh,
You hear me?
there you are. I don't know where that went.
I think you're delayed. Brett. You were talking about
Yes,
Brett.
yes, yes, Brett. So, first of all, I'm very glad that your lives are at the end of the day, most of the time because I do watch Dean and Parker's while I'm at work. I'm a nail tech, so when I do stuff, I have one headphone in and I'm listening to you guys. But something that I've noticed. Oh my gosh, I'm rambling. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Um, but I do want to address a couple things, and it's hard when you want to communicate these things during the debates when it's happening in person, like in that moment. And so when you have these things and you want to communicate with the people that you're watching, but the only way that you do that is through donations and stuff like that. And sometimes we can't all do that every day all the time when we want them to know what we're trying to say. And I guess what I'm trying to say by that is there are things that debaters, when we're trying to debate, we're not just trying to prove them wrong, we're trying to educate. And I think that the difference between, say, Dean and Parker and you and Erica, like you said, everyone has a different approach, but um, something that I think that you take into consideration a lot more, and Erica as well, is the chat. And I heard you start bringing up the chat, today during this conversation. And I think that there's a few things that I'd like to acknowledge. And it would be number one, a lot of the people getting information from all of you guys' lives, they might not always be, remembering the correct information and being able to transfer that information from one person to another. And it's great when they can. But sometimes those people in the chat, they think that they have the same level of knowledge and background and experience with the information at hand, like for example statistics for unemployment rates and the Department of war, quote unquote. That's insane, but like they'll take those info bits from Dean's lives and Parker's lives and your lives, and they try and debate other people, and then they either spread misinformation or they start getting really frustrated because they don't do it every day, so they don't have the same emotional capacity, and it makes a lot of other people who do know what they're talking about and are trying to make it better, they end up kind of doing the opposite. Same with like bullying and things like that. I think that the only thing that's off limits, would be stuff like name calling. Like there's a very big difference in the way that, say, a more mature debater would come at someone. And I'm not talking about the hateful people that are being hateful. I totally understand just cussing them out and calling them names and just going off, but I think that we need to have good examples, and I think that the chat does have a responsibility to reflect their person that they're watching, because it will inevitably cause more problems when they end up just bullying other people and following the people that are trying to actually learn and that are getting all these messages and stuff like that. I just think that we need to all do better.
I completely agree. And this is what I call a teaching moment, because chat, what the hell? Right? So again, this is the perfect opportunity to reflect on what we were talking about with the chat. So as we have someone who has been patient and waited to actually come up and sat here quietly in order to engage in this conversation, and I finally gave the person the floor, and for some reason the chat made the decision to start to spam like, oh, you're yapping, or wrap it up or whatever. That's the toxic part of debate culture that seeps into even conversations, and it comes from the chat. And that's why I say the chat has culpability as well. I think that we I think that we miss the opportunity to see the humanity in each other, and I think it goes back to a lot of people seeing someone on the screen, and they think that those people are just like the little entertainment people inside of their box, right? And so when that happens, you dehumanize people, and then you tend to either go to a place of not having empathy or being rude or whatever the case may be. And while, again, yes, there are times where the chat, it's perfectly fine to heckle opposition and all this other stuff, but when there is a meaningful space or a meaningful conversation being had, and the chat starts to devolve, that goes into the negative portion of debate culture, and that's something that we have to talk about as well. So I agree that it's a responsibility of creators as well to call out the chat in real time, but chat, it is your responsibility to be better people and to understand and read the room. Like every single time you enter a space, you need to read the room. You cannot just be whatever person that you are in this space, in that space. And to be honest, because it's a little bit confusing for people that watch me, because the way that the late nights, this panel is held, is completely different than the way that sparring is held. And so people may interact differently on those different lives, but it's something that we need to address, because I think that the negativity that's surrounding debate culture at this moment, it's not just to blame for one type of person, one type of aspect. It's a lot of it, and we have to deal with all of it. E, you're about to say something.
No, yeah, it kind of goes along with what
My name's Marina, by the way.
What's your name,
if you
baby?
would rather. My name is
Marina?
Marina, like where you keep the
Okay.
boats.
All right, awesome. All right, so it kind of goes along with what Marina was saying in regards to how the people on the panel actually end up reading the chat, and it can change the dynamic of the conversation. And I saw that happen with Marina. I can hear it. When she started off speaking, she was excited. And she mentioned that she was nervous, but I could tell that she was reading the comments, but trying to ignore it. And I could hear like the spark
Honestly,
in her
I
voice.
didn't quite read it until I actually am reading my I'm sorry.
Good.
I have a list that I had made. I had been listening to you guys, and I just wanted to address, why debating's important and whatnot. But I was honestly just reading my list, and I had a few
And
points about
which
the
nothing
chat.
is wrong with that.
Nothing's
And
wrong with that,
Then
right?
I went
I
to
think
the
that
chat
people,
and I watched those parts, and after you guys brought up the chat, I kind of scrolled up and I did take a look at everything, and
yeah,
those people are exactly the reason why. I just think it's funny, because like we do so much and you guys do so much all day to encourage people to, we preach about how we want to, educate them and try and get them to understand like why their point of view is wrong. And then we have people in the chat that are literally trying to fight with the people that are on the same side as them. And I think that that's really embarrassing, and it has a lot to say about their true character.
Well, and the point that I'm trying to get across is, again, because there are certain time and spaces and places where a contentious chat is required, right? But
Absolutely.
my biggest point is like understanding where you are and how you engage, and even more so, for me as a creator, as someone who hosts and who hosts platforms and panels for people to speak. Like if I feel like I need to cut someone off, or if they're quote unquote rambling or whatever the case may be, I know how to jump in and take back the reins and say like, hey, I'm gonna to pull this away and bring this in. But if I'm giving the person the space to speak, then it's because I want to give the person the place to speak. And I think that the chat needs to like respect that as well. But it goes all into the whole bubble of things. But I don't want to get bogged down, and I want to keep it going because there's 2 other people on the panel, and I want to make sure we get an opportunity for the 2 other people to speak. And then there's something else that I want Erica to speak about as well, because we're going to dig into that. But crying 7, I think 7, or
Sin, it's sin. It's sin. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sin. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I turned the news off November 5th of 2024, and I did not turn it back on until I heard my first debate last month, when I found Dean Withers. And I'm totally guilty of falling into being so angry at some of the things that people say that they have no proof of. I mean, it to me, when Sean said it, I was like screaming at my phone. Exactly. People don't know how to debate. They have no idea that it's an art. It's argument and deliberation. It's persuasion. It's not about the fight. It's about the argument presented. So when people were, you know, hearing back for the first time all these things that people were talking about, I was absolutely triggered by people's stupidity. And that, or you know what, I should call it ignorance, because even though I find ignorant, before I really recognized what the word ignorant meant, stupidity is probably a worse word to use. Their ignorance is that they're so programmed. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I deal with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the reason why we do 95 to 99% of the things we do. And the people that are coming up there, if you really listen to them, that just spout things off, it is a program that doesn't even belong to them. It's their parents, it's their community, it's all these things that they're not even thinking for themselves. They're not individuals speaking about what they feel. They're people just parroting things that they think are true because they were told so. So I found myself not recognizing that people are actually reading the chat. And I was on Parker's chat, and I put something in where a guy came on and said that, you know, he had done drugs and stuff like that. And he was just being so ignorant about things that he just had no proof of, that I said, karma's a bitch. And I didn't think anybody reads what I say. And the guy said, oh, what's karma? Like that. And I'm like, oh my God, he totally read what I wrote. And then Parker says, don't listen to them. I don't agree with that. And that was like a wake-up call. And it doesn't stop me from like responding or wanting to engage. But what it did do was give me responsibility, that the way I respond is important. Because if somebody is saying something that is absolutely not true, and I start calling them names or saying things, that's not going to persuade anybody. So as somebody in the chat, I think there's 100% responsibility that what you're responding to, you have to take responsibility for your words, regardless of whether you're one of the debaters or you're in the chat. And I recognize that. You know?
No, I completely agree. And I think that because as someone who, not only do I, you know, host my own live, I try to be mindful of my chat. And then when I'm sharing spaces with some of my other creator friends, I try to be mindful of their chat as well. But when I'm in other people like spaces, in like opposition spaces, I don't look at their chat at all, because I know for a fact that it's an issue with debate culture. But I like to call out our space and our chat and our people, because calling out our space and our chat and our people is so important. And even more so, calling them out and letting them know, like for things that they may not know, right? And I'll say this specifically, like in debate culture, there's not a lot of conversation around like intersectionality. and there's not a lot of people talking about like what is ableist terms and things that really affect people. And so people know the slurs, right? They know the N word, they know the R slur, and they know when they hear that, oh, that's so bad, right? They know that, but they don't know that they shouldn't be calling people SLOW or DUMB, right? They don't realize that those are harmful terms that are ableist, and so they don't necessarily know, and they say it in the chat, and they're not thinking about it. And so when I see that, I try to make sure I call that out as much as possible, because it gives me an opportunity to not only engage with the chat in real time, but it gives me an opportunity to give them a tool and some type of feedback that they can take with them, and they can have a better understanding. And so they can, be in a better, I guess, situation or whatever than the person that's up on the panel that I'm debating, who may be using this terminology, and they'd like to think, well, I'm nothing like this person. Well, if you're engaging in the same sort of, ableism, whether it's willingly or unwillingly, and especially if someone like tells you and then they correct you and you still do it, like that's a bad thing. But I do agree, like the chat definitely has a responsibility, just like the creator has a responsibility. We all have a responsibility when it comes to cultivating a community and a space. I think people get so locked into the veil of hiding behind like, oh, I'm just a random person on the internet, that they sometimes lean into like being the worst version of themselves, and we need to normalize not doing that.
Exactly.
Just period. So
and I got to tell you, Santana, really quick. For me, not engaging in the political environment was because I didn't feel safe, because my beliefs are, I've never been a Republican, I've never been a Democrat, but I'm absolutely liberal, and I've always been absolutely liberal, and I did not feel safe. And I will tell you, whenever I see you come on, or I come to your debates, your lives, I literally feel so safe. And I think that is something that people don't understand, that this is a safe place for a lot of us that have felt so marginalized because, for whatever reason that we feel marginalized. And I do feel that this is a safe place, and I appreciate that. But I really do want to start working with people about changing their programming.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I appreciate you saying that. That's not something I subscribe to myself as being a safe place at all. Because I feel like that's something that not only is something that you have to earn, but you have to continue to earn it day after day. But I would be remiss if I didn't directly point to the people around me, whether it's, management, or whether it's Kay, or whether it's like the rest of my mods, or even like Erica. Like it's the only reason that this is a safe space, and it continues to be a safe space, is not because of me. It's because of the people who keep me on my toes and like call me out on my BS and make sure that I'm being mindful and responsible. And then I just try to continue to communicate out the good morals and good ethics and the things that they teach me out to the chat, so we can all harbor like a safe environment where people feel wanted. So that's not a me thing. That's a them thing.
I gave Erica a follow. Erica, I'm looking forward to listening to one of your lives. And I just wanted to say something, because I was there for the Not Phil, and it was humorous, very humorous, but I don't think Phil understands that it's okay to say, I don't know what that means, because he really didn't understand that gaslighting means denying facts.
I think he did. I think he was just being disingenuous. Like I have a history of him with him, and
I know. I got that. I did, but I don't think he really knows what that means. But people are so scared to not look smart. We're going to use positives, right? To not look smart, that they won't admit that when you're blaming others for your behavior, that's gaslighting.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you, Santana.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming up and hanging out with us. Thank you. All right. Sorry. Let's see here. Finesse, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for being patient. I apologize. And I meant to get to you a lot earlier, but things just kind of like spiraled, and I apologize. But thank you for being patient.
Of course, it's absolutely no worries.
All right.
I
What would
just
you
wanna
like to
s-
add to the conversation?
Not a whole lot. I'm 19. I am not super well versed in debate. I'm not gonna come on here and try to pretend I am. I do want to thank you for this amazing safe space. I'm from Southern Utah, which is a very MAGA, very white area. I grew up very ignorant, and because of where I live and the culture here, it's very easy to stay ignorant. Um, but I saw Dean, saw Parker. I've seen you,
I'm sorry. Is
and
it Phineas?
it is, yeah.
I'm sorry, I messed up your name. I apologize.
Absolutely no worries. Yeah, I love your lives, and it just kind of opened my eyes a little bit to how the world really goes on. Again, because of where I live, super super easy to be ignorant and unlearned. But I really just wanted to thank you for kind of showing me the other side of things, because it's hard to see that where I'm from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you for being here, but even more so, like that gives me hope as far as like what's happening, right? Because I think that your age, you are prime target for like red pill culture, right? You're prime target for the incel route where you're screaming your body, my choice, and like just leaning into the worst aspects of being a young man. And as someone who at that age, for you to come up here and speak the way that you just did, I know for a fact that I wasn't emotionally intelligent enough to convey that type of knowledge or information at 19. So I appreciate you for doing that. But it makes me happy to hear that, because I think that debate culture has a place in a space, especially with the youth. And I think like making an impact on people like you, younger people, where maybe one day if you decide you want to engage in this and you continue to learn and grow and you actually want to actively engage in it, then like you end up being better than the people that are doing it right now. And so like that makes me super hopeful hearing you say that.
Yeah, I didn't get into politics until about 6 months ago, and I've just been diving headfirst ever since, just trying to learn all that I can, and your streams have definitely helped a lot with that. So,
oh well, thank you. Well, I think, and again, that's like one of the key things that we talked about, right? Trying to educate yourself when it comes to anything that you actually want to speak on, and it's something that I try to make sure I don't do, is speak on anything in public that I don't know or I can't verify. And then I have great people behind me who correct me when I do mess up and misspeak or misquote or portray a message the wrong way. So I think it's important to continue to actually educate ourselves in order to make sure that we're giving factual information and really trying to help the next person that's trying to learn. So thank you for that.
absolutely, yeah, and thank you. That's all I got.
All right, I appreciate you. All right. Let me read off a couple of quick things, and then I want to have a quick conversation with you. I know what time it is and all this other stuff, but you said something that's super important, and I want to talk about it, and then we can figure things out from there. And also, welcome in Matt Raid. Welcome in Matt Raid. I appreciate each and every one of you. As you guys get in, tap the screen, share the live. Also, look up at the top. You see the word follow. You're not following me. Hit that follow button. Follow the account. This is the backup account. This is the account that I will be doing debates on more frequently. So make sure you follow the backup account if you want to catch the debates. A couple of massive thank yous, like freaking massive thank yous. One to Lunice, who sent a $5 super chat to say, first live I interacted with. I've been waiting for these conversations for years. I'll be watching. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And if you are over on the YouTube, make sure you hit that follow button. But if you missed last night, you can catch last night's live as well. It's over on the YouTubes. Massive freaking massive W's in the chat for Denise, who sent a $50 donation. Denise said, I just want to say I will never reach a place of forgiveness when it comes to Trump and MAGA vilifying my transgender sisters and brothers. And Erica, I'm not sure the kids are at the I'm not sure the kids are at the Lemon House. The cough drop tasting candy. That's a cough drop. Oh, I guess you're saying they don't like lemon heads. Lemon heads do suck. Like lemon
What?
heads suck.
That's Bubba's favorite candy. What are we doing?
Lemon heads suck. I don't like candy anyway though. So
Bubba's
W's in the chat for Gabriella. Gabriella sent a $25 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Saying thank you for being you and for everything that you do to help strengthen each other. Much love. Also, no W's. I'm sorry, I read that too late, but thank you. They got to put it at the beginning. E. I appreciate you so much. God, I am Ron Burgundy. I am literally Ron Burgundy. I will read anything that you put in front of me. Literally. Sick of Society, thank you so much for the $2 donation, saying the convo about the chat behavior made me reflect on my own behavior. I get caught up in bullying, honestly, and join in, and I will be working on that and not joining in. And remember that MAGA in the box is a human being first. Thank you for all that you do. Yeah, absolutely. Like, listen, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody because I do the same thing. But the point that I am trying to make is that I think we all have an opportunity to be better. And like, yeah, sometimes we got to drag people to hell, but we don't necessarily have to drag everybody to hell, because if we drag everybody to hell, then maybe there's not going to be enough room for the people that really need to be in hell. I don't know. I'm just saying. W's in the chat for Heidi, who sent a $5 donation and didn't say anything, just sent some love. Heidi, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And W's in the chat for Gene. Gene sent a $1 donation saying your community is a safe space for everyone. I'm not reading that last part. I refuse to read the last part. W's in the chat for Gene. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I thank you all for the love. You guys are absolutely amazing, and you crushed the nightly goal tonight. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, follow the backup account, follow Erica, show Erica some love. Erica, you said something super important on the back end about debate culture. And I do want to take a few minutes to talk about that, because I think I might want to leave tomorrow with this. I have a couple of other things that I really want to talk about, but floor is yours. Go right ahead.
I was talking about misogyny in debate talk. Basically, like for the women creators, and it's not just from the ops, and I do use like air quotes when I say that. So it's not just from them; it's also from our mutuals. Like having discussions without representation, and I know you can't always have representation, and I know you don't want people to feel like tokens. But I really do cringe when I see two guys having a full blown like philosophical or a debate type debate about a woman's right to choose. Like I cringe. I'm like, are we really doing this? And I don't know. I think I just lost my train of thought. It's late.
You did.
I did. Be quiet. I'm gonna get it back. It's getting back on track.
Well, let me hop in there for a second while you get it back in line. The one thing that I do want to call out is like when it comes to representation, we had a really good conversation about this last night, E, and I don't think that you were here for this part of the live. But the importance of representation and how, because one of the things that we have here is what's off limits, right? And then the actual premise of, as far as like certain people saying no, everything, and there's nothing should be off limits, and certain people say, oh, certain things should be off limits. And I had the portion of the conversation where I'm like, I won't debate abortion with men, but I will shift the conversation to like mandatory vasectomies, because that's something that I feel like, one, I actually believe it. Like I don't debate stuff that I don't believe in. Right. And so I don't say stuff just to say it. So like, I do believe that, but then also I think that even more so, like it's a really practical stance and a practical conversation to have, especially if you feel this adamant about like abortions, then like as a man, you like, this is your portion that you can control. So why not have that debate? I talked about that, but then I also talked about like, if there are certain situations where I can get representation, then I'm willing to engage in that actual debate. And just like, so I saw Eli here and Sean was up here earlier, and I gave the example That, those are two people that I trust to have the debate when it comes to like transgender topics, right? And I have them up for representation, not to tokenize them, but just because, one, I want to amplify their voices, but two, I do believe that like if you're a member of said community and you want to actually engage in that debate, then I'm going to give you the platform to actually speak and have that debate. But I tell Eli, I tell Sean, Erica, I tell you this one, like whenever we're talking abortion or whatever, as soon as those people that I'm putting my trust in to actually manage that conversation or that debate, as soon as they are like done, if the person oversteps or like they're just like, you know what, nope, like that's it, and I drop that person because like, F you. And I think that's important when it comes to representation, but also understanding like those limits. But with that being said, Erica, I didn't think about the thing that you said, and I think that's so true, right? I think the misogyny is rampant within debate culture. And I know for a fact that I'm someone that has partaken in said misogyny because I have a habit of speaking over just about everyone all the time. Like I have a bad habit of doing that. And I've had to catch myself to make sure that I'm whatever. I have a bad habit of I have to catch myself and making sure that not only am I not doing that, but I'm not doing that to women as well, especially on topics where women should be heard. But with that being said, that's not a consistent thing throughout debate culture. And you were telling me more about it, and I want you to expand there. Hopefully you were able to find your thought from that. I know I rambled.
You just ramble. I don't know. I don't remember.
I was trying to help you out, dude. I literally threw you an alley and you couldn't even catch it. Golly.
I'm literally like, just put me on a bench, coach.
Right.
No, I just think that more male creators, because of the visibility that they have, should be willing to actually be in like I will say, Santana, you do a great job of being in different spaces.
Okay job.
Right. Okay, all right. You do an okay job of being in different spaces. All right. You could be better. All right. So with that being said, I think and like Liv is good with being in different spaces, and so is Itchy. But I would say that those who have like a greater visibility to maybe make it a mission of theirs, or at least some type of if a short-term goal, I'm not sure, of being in other spaces and bringing that and highlighting other creators, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like networking, and the majority of us who are on this platform, which is TikTok, and who are having these debates, again, I call them conversations, and having these conversations, we have a goal in mind. And the goal in mind isn't just entertainment, it's also to educate and to inform the audience. And so if you have the bigger platform, especially as a male, because one thing that I do notice is that a lot of people come into your space and they'll say, you, Dean and Parker, you, Dean and Parker. All you hear is you, Dean and Parker. And I'm like, do y'all listen to any women creators? And I wonder about that, because where do you listen to any transgender creators?
You turned into a robot.
About the robot. Sorry. Do you listen to hold on.
While Erica tries to de-robotfy herself, Debbie's in the chat for Lousy, who sent another $5 donation saying, for yesterday, which I did get to watch. Thanks. I'm glad you did. I'm really glad that you did. Debbie's in the chat for you. That's freaking awesome.
Awesome. Am I still roboting?
No, not anymore. If you were, then Megatron will come back out.
Oh, okay, all right. But take it.
Please let Megatron come back out.
No, I'm not gonna robot. It's not my signal, it's the AirPod. But take it, Santana. Oh, like I wonder, like what diverse creators do you listen to? Are you getting all your information? Because it is baffling to me again that like a person would go into a white creator space and want to discuss race relations. I'm sorry, what? And or it's baffling. They want to, even when they want to come into my space as a cisgender heterosexual woman and want to discuss, transgender rights. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Well, you know what? But like when people do that, I feel like they're just being disingenuous, right?
Yes, I do too.
And so like specifically, I'll pick on Parker because that's my friend and one person that I frequent his space often, and I feel like there's certain. It's weird when certain Black people go into like that white space to have a conversation like it's I'm like, why wouldn't and I've even been in a conversation where I've asked the person like, hey, this no, specifically it happened like a couple of weeks ago where there was a Black woman that went into Joey's space, and Joey is Latino, but he's white presenting, but regardless, she took her Black issues.
You talking about the one you sent to Hector and I?
Yes.
Oh, and Hector's really good about being in different spaces. Hector be everywhere.
But like she took her Black issues into a non-Black space and then tried to put her Black issues there. And I'm like, why would you do that? That's weird. That's weird. And people tend to do that. And I'm just like, when people do that, I think they're intentionally being malicious and they're not there for good faith.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But I was just thinking that like I think a broader conversation does need to be had in regards to the misogyny that does take place, and I think it's more so again just among like others who do this, like the speaking over women thing. The me, I'll say it quickly. Can I say penis over here? Is Mama Jones here?
She is. No, I thought you was just saying that in the context of trying to make a point. No, please don't talk about penis.
No, I'm just gonna say that like when y'all
finish
be
your
on
sentence, dude.
I am. I'm gonna finish it. I promise I will. Like when y'all be on my panel and y'all be over talking and stuff, I just be like, I turn on a voice and I say, everyone with a penis, please be quiet. Cause like, stop it. Stop it now. But yeah, I think things get passionate. I understand that. I totally do. Like I get it. It's just that like stop over talking women, not just in the sense of like literally over talking women, but speaking on women's issues when you literally can phone a friend. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got.
Well, and I'll say this because you mentioned something, and like this is for the chat. This is for the chat. Because there's certain things in the like for opposition and for friendlies, right? I know for myself because I do try to visit other spaces, and then when I'm in other spaces, whether it's an opposition that comes in and they immediately try to engage with me. And Erica knows this. Like, if you come up and I'm on Erica's panel and you come up and you're like, "Oh, Santana, da 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 da," I'll just sit there like I don't hear you because you're not gonna like not engage with the host, especially a Black woman, or a Black woman. Period. Like, you need to engage with the host first because that's decorum. But also, that's not my space. That's someone else's space, and they're giving me the opportunity to share their space. So you need to actually, even opposition, you need to respect the other person's space. Right. But also friendlies. And I'm going to tell you this right now. It's weird when you come into other people's spaces and you join their panel, you completely disregard their actual viewpoint or I'm sorry, you disregard the requirements around what they're looking to do. And then you immediately start to try to talk to me.
Like they do that to me all the time.
Yes, you don't do that, right? Like I appreciate you, but one, you make sure you respect the creator's boundaries, but also two, you need to make sure that, again, you're addressing the actual host before you actually talk to anyone else, because it's not my space, it's their space. So there's that. What up, Isaiah?
What y'all talking about?
Listen, this is late nights. We haven't been debating. We have our topic this week, which the topic of the week is debate culture. So we've been diving into debate culture, which now I'm looping you into it because, like, why not? And so we've been talking to a couple of different things as far as like why debate, which is the reason why like actual debate is good, and you know how you should conduct yourself in an actual debate. Knowledge is key, which is speaking to the actual necessity of knowing the things that you're actually talking about, and why, you know, there seems to be an aversion for certain people to like either speak on things that they don't know about or openly reject like commonly accepted information or reliable sources. What's off limits, right? Talking about the aspect of certain things that should or should not be spoken on, or at the very least having representation when you talk about it. And then the last point, which is proving your point, which is the conversation I'm going to really harp on tomorrow, is like shifting the future of debate culture to where we're actually using it in a positive function instead of some of the toxic aspects that currently exist. So that's been the conversation for this week.
That's interesting. Personally, I feel like debate is educational because it tests you to know a lot of things, but a lot of the things that come up in debate are questions that people hear in their own lives, whether it's through their coworkers, their family members. And I think that when they watch what we do, they can then get information that they can use to go up against those people.
Yep.
So in reality, while I don't really do it to, I guess, change the minds of MAGA. It's really more for the people that are watching, because there are a lot of folks that might be independent, or folks that are leaning, or folks that don't really get involved, that eventually watch and say, you know what, I never saw it from that perspective, and it really just changes their mindset.
Yeah. Isaiah, why is it so important for people to be like intellectually honest? Like not only intellectually honest, but like even with us, right? In us making a point, even more like for us to have facts and information and to deliver out as accurate as information as possible at all times.
Well, I think largely because, when you're trying to, I guess, educate or, inform the public, and you're giving bullshit information, well, that
language,
eventually...
This is late nights, not sparring. My mom was watching.
Oh, my bad. Well, when you give bad information, that eventually gets found out, right? Like people eventually listen to the things you say and they do their own research. And when you have bad information, it destroys your credibility, right? People are not going to want to come back and listen to somebody that they see constantly gets debunked. At least that's the way I see it.
I agree. E, what do you think about that?
See, this is why I call them conversations, because I do agree, but I just disagree with the wording of it, like with everything that Isaiah pretty much said, because to me, it is more so about the chat, all right? Informing them, educating them, even giving them tips on how to research and so on. Because the reason why I don't say debate is because that style is so very structured. What I've seen on TikTok and what I've done on this platform isn't necessarily structured. It's more so like a conversation that I would have, a living room conversation, or a conversation at the grocery store. It's a discourse, it's a conversation. To where, because we're not doing like an affirmative, opposing, and judging. There's no method there. There's no time limits. We don't have a moderator on the panel, interjecting and fact checking in real time, so on and so forth. I've seen people attempt to do it before. I have seen people attempt to do it before on this app, but it kind of just devolves into a screaming match. So with that being said, I think it's important that we continue to have the conversations with people, because again, you never know who's in the chat listening. But that's really all I had to add. I just think we should just continue to have these conversations, and that's it.
I will say, you know, I think everybody kind of has like their own styles, right? Everybody has their own flow. You know, I think for me, my style is definitely more of the attack mindset, largely because, you know, I think people just see so much disinformation out there that it's somewhat entertaining to watch like the brutal takedown of like MAGA and their lies and their smears. But like I said, I mean, with that being said, you know, I'm not for everybody. You know, I know that a lot of folks probably look at the things that I do and say, oh, you know, I don't really like the way he's very aggressive. But
you know
I
what's
think
funny? Look, my wife tells me the opposite. Like she thinks that I'm like ultra aggressive, and she's like, "Why not? You see how Isaiah does it? He's like really laid back, and you know he's just really smart about it, like really calm. And you need to be more calm and da 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 da." Like she fusses me about certain stuff all the time, and she calls me out on like some of the stuff that we were already talking about as well. Especially like she's been the biggest proponent of making sure that I don't speak over like Erica or other women. But like it's funny to hear you say that, and like literally other people think the opposite.
It's so funny because, you know, amongst like the Houston political establishment, like that's like all they say. They say, "Oh, he's so aggressive. He's everything."
Really?
I had somebody, dude. It's so crazy.
I like the way Isaiah does it.
I had somebody say, and I quote, Isaiah Martin is everything wrong with politics today. That's what, but like I said, I think a lot of them, they just get triggered because, you know, the way that the country wants things done, they want people to be, you know, like I said, facts first. They want people to be aggressive. And they know that I don't really care about, you know, what the big donors say or what the establishment says. It's about what the people want. And, you know, it's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Let me land this plane on this because we're actually in overtime. And I would love to hear from both of you because both of you kind of differ in this instance, and I know what I do, but E, I want to start with you. What responsibility do you think the debater or the person that is hosting the live has to controlling the chat as far as the way that they manage themselves, and even more so, what culpability do you think the chat has to be good stewards of whoever they claim to be representing at that time?
That's a great question. I'm actually very happy to answer that. But first, I do want to give a shout out to Hark the Harlot. Love your name. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate you, love. They said, y'all, please join me in supporting one of the best and smartest creators on this app, women supporting other women. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That is so sweet.
I'm convinced that Erica just made that message up and just like,
I will
not the donation, but made the message up. Like, I'm sure the person sent the donation. I don't believe the message. I don't believe you need more people. Anyway,
that's misogyny. Anywho, expect your inbox to be flooded. That's a real message, though. Thank you so much. Put some hearts in the chat. The first part, my responsibility, when I see it, call it out. When I see it, call it out. Also, I know for me personally, I was about to say me personally, I hate that. But for me, I have to pay more attention to my Discord when hosting, because it's stuff that I'll miss. And like what I've done is I told one of my mods, because we already talked directly, I told her to message me directly when she sees it, so I'll get it. And I'll call it out like, hey, we're not doing ableism in this chat. We aren't doing that at all. All right. And also we're not gonna be attacking. Like if the person is just up there and they're kind of like windmilling, but they're not, doing the thing of how can I put it? They're not doing the thing of being rude. It's just they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not gonna do that thing. I'm not gonna allow people to like talk about their appearance or anything of that nature. We're not doing that. Like y'all need to chill. Like, hey, all right, chill. The chat's responsibility, I think, is just to be aware of where you are and to act accordingly. Like if you are in my space and you follow me, then you know we're not doing ableism. So don't even try it because you know we're not doing that. We're not going to be disrespectful to, of course, to any marginalized community whatsoever. And so that's pretty much it. I just think read the room, people.
Yeah, that's a good call out. That's a good call out. Isaiah, what about you? Because like I've spent time in your chat and I don't know, maybe I like haven't paid enough attention to your chat, but I've never really seen like the sometimes the negativity that can pop off in other chats. But what culpability do you think you have as the host, the actual debater, as far as ensuring that you foster an environment where people feel comfortable with like being there, but then also what responsibility does the chat have to not be complete jerks and actually represent you as well?
Well, the pressure cooker chat, they've always kind of held it down. I mean, I feel like they kind of self-police, right? Like if someone says something crazy, they know how to step in. Connor, Char, elite mods per se. Everybody. Oh, look at them. I see them in the comments. But yeah, I mean, no, they're 100%. Like they're the best mods. Like whenever something crazy happens, they know how to deal with it, of course. But I think really just everybody has been. We're kind of like a family. We've been together for a while now, a year and a half of doing lives and stuff, and I think a lot of them kind of, whenever they see something crazy, they just step up and call it out themselves. I never really have to call out, anything crazy that's said because somebody will always address it first.
Yeah, I don't really see that for you, and I know you're so locked in as far as where you are as well, and so and even you, E, I know unless you have your windows on, you can't really see anyway. But you two really focus on the people that's on the panel. And I think that's something as well. But I think you just said this, Isaiah, and I think this is something I would be remiss if I didn't like last point, and I'm going to call this out. Last point. W's in the chats for the mods, for all the mods, because the mods are absolutely amazing, right? And there's no way we could do what we do without the mods. But even more so, the one thing that I will make sure that I call out is chat. Respect the mods. I say this all the time. My mods are a representation of me. And so if you're in my live to watch me on this live, then you need to make sure that you're actually respecting my mods, because if you are disrespecting my mods, then you're disrespecting me. And if my mods say you got to go, then you got to go. Like, I don't know what to say. You can try to petition me, but that's not going to go well because I'm just going to fall in line behind my mods. So if my mods mute you, oh, well, shouldn't have been talking. If my mods block you, oh, well, hasta luego. Like, I mean, I don't have anything for you. So just make sure that you understand that the mods are a huge part of your favorite creators. And if you don't actually respect and engage with the mods in kind, then you don't actually appreciate the creator, because there's no way we can do what we do without the mods.
Awesome. And I just want to take a moment before I get up out of here. It's past my bedtime. I said I was not going to sleep this late. Okay.
Here, I know.
Shout out to Phil for the 5. Phil said, I second the previous donator's message. Erica is smart and Santana is a hater.
Why the fuck you lying?
No, that's
Why
right.
you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Did someone say something? What was that?
That's wild.
What was
Shout
that?
out to Phil. Thank you so much, Phil. Phil's the best. Phil actually provides me with a lot of information. Like, he's so freaking awesome. And also shout out to Megan for the 20. Megan said, thank you for carrying Santana's lives. And she said dead ass.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Did someone say something? What was that? What was that? Who said that?
But I kind of want to piggyback off of what Isaiah actually did. And I do want to give a shout out to my mods. Like there's Corey, there's Shauna, there's Miss Nat, there's Neely, Ashby, Miss Grandma V, and Amanda over on YouTube. Also Feisty on YouTube now, and Taro. And so it's like, thank you to the mods. I also have a lot of creative friends as mods. Shout out to Hector. Shout out to you, Santana. You
Best
are
mod in the
my
business. Number
Jesus
one mod in the business. Hey, Isaiah, you need to make me a mod.
Don't do it, Isaiah.
You should definitely do it.
I've had 2 mods the entirety of the time.
Yeah, that's
Connor
cool.
and
You should
Dustin.
make me a mod.
Stand on business.
I petition. I literally petition every creative friend that I have to make me a mod.
You know what's crazy? So when I started running for Congress, like my congressional team wanted to become mods, and I was like, nah.
Really?
I was like, nah.
Hey, Isaiah, if you don't listen to anything else that I ever say to you, do not do it. Have a
Don't
good
play
night,
me.
y'all.
Don't play with me.
I was about to say, have a good night, y'all.
All right, no, guys, seriously, it's time to get out of here. It's bedtime. I'm sure it's bedtime for all of us, but I think it's bedtime for me. So I appreciate both of you for coming up.
All right, also, have a great day. Thank you all. Y'all have a fantastic night. Bye, Isaiah.
Thank you, guys. Let's see here. Debbie's in the chat from Megan. Megan sent a $10 donation. Said, "Did you get your wife flowers? LOL." I didn't, but I will. I'll go get her flowers. I will do that. Thank you for the 10. Guys. Last call, not for alcohol, but for the follow button. Look up at the top. If you see the word follow and you're not following me, go ahead and hit that follow button. Hit that follow button. Wonderful night 2. Tomorrow night, night 3, the last night for this actual topic for this week. So if you did not actually get an opportunity to join the conversation, because there was a lot of people that's in the box that did not get to get in, please come back tomorrow. I promise you I will do my best to rotate people in and out, especially tomorrow. So if you want to actually join the conversation, come back tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. I will get you in. I promise I will try my best to actually get those people in. We will be wrapping up this conversation for this week. And tomorrow, I want to put a heavy focus on the chat, and not in the chat in the sense of like the way that we actually talked about things that we talked about this evening, but more so in the sense of like, how do we shift and create and cultivate a more acceptable debate culture? And what do we want that to look like? So if you're here tonight and you're someone that's planning on joining the conversation tomorrow, think about that. I really, really, really need you to think about that, because I think it's our responsibility to actually shift the overall premise as far as like debate and debate culture. And so what do we want that to look like moving forward? So be ready for that conversation, because we need real answers. And I'm not saying like, I just want people to be nice. No, we need real tangible things. So be really ready to engage and share your thoughts as far as how can we actually move the needle and make everything better, right? So there's that. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. Darn it, that was one of the, no, that's it. That's it. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and hit this outro.
Yeah, this ain't your regular paddle. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the
I knew I meant to do something else. W's in the chat for Brilliant, who sent a $5. I don't know what the A is. I need to look that up. Whatever euro, $5 euro to say Erica is the greatest. She's the best. Santana can never compare to her brilliance. Cap, that's all a lie. So there's that. W's in the chat for Brilliant.
Santana, hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana.
Hey guys, all right, so it's time to get out of here. It's time to get out of here. We will be back tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. It is going to be a heck of a day tomorrow. I appreciate every one of you. Josh, yes, I do see you. I don't know what you want me to do with that. What did you say? Sure, I see you, Josh. Hi. Anyway, guys, we're getting out of here. Thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you all so much for the love. Thank you for the great conversation. I think tonight was so good. Special shout out to everyone that was able to join the panel and really help carry the conversation. It was such a good night. Guys, I love you. Period. Thank you for all the likes, the gifts, the taps, the shares. Thank you for being you. Thank you all for being amazing. I love you all. And as always...